ask about Spags because that was his guy in Kansas City, and obviously he continues to have all this success. And we'll find out if what he makes of for the conspiracies out there. I mean, he was part of the beginning of this dynasty. Tyrann Mathieu was. What does he make of people trying to discredit the dynasty because of all the referee stuff?
I imagine knowing Tyrann Mathieu and the strong opinions that he possessed in the time he was here, and now I obviously see them less because he's not in town. I assume still possesses a strong opinion. He's going to call it nonsense. Nonsense. It's all social media created by losers. The losers, like the people who didn't win. That is who has been sending this nonsense across and going through all this. It's, you know how it is. Oh, I'm sorry that your team's not winning. You know.
So it'd be good to catch up with Tyrann Mathieu at 11 o'clock here on 96.5 The Fan. We know a lot of this game is going to be centered around the defenses. As much as it is about, Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes, it's about the defenses. The talk about the Eagles' defense. And the numbers for the Eagles have been impressive, right? Number one pass defense. That's a fact. That's what the Philadelphia Eagles bring to the table. Then you take a look and say, all right, well, how does Patrick Mahomes fare against number one pass defenses? Now, it's a small sample size in the playoffs, but it's still bigger sample size than anybody else because he's been in the playoffs more than anybody else. But
this is just the playoffs. He's pretty good in the regular season, too, by the way.
Among all quarterbacks with 2 or more playoff starts versus the number one pass defense since pre-Super Bowl merger, since 1950. Number one in points per game, 37. Number one in record, 3-0.
Pretty good.
Number one in completion percentage, 70.8. Number one in touchdown ratio per game, 2.7. Oh, and number one passer rating, 108.5. Cody,
okay,
that's pretty good.
That's better than his career passer rating. That's better than most career passer. That's probably better than any passer rating for anybody maybe during that entire time. But it's like, that's against number one ranked defenses in the playoffs. So they're going up against a team that dominated the pass game the entire season. They had 17 damn games, 16 damn games to do it. And he's facing them in what is the most pressure-packed situation imaginable, the playoffs. And all you're telling me is that he goes for 300 yards, 3 tutties, and nearly perfect? Like, that tells you all you need to know. And look, the history of the NFL actually bears this out. There was a stat earlier this season in the NFL talking about this. Your number one ranked defense means a lot less against a number one ranked quarterback than anyone else. Mahomes counteracts any ability you have to regularly do that. And what I have to rate some of these facts to, some of those stats to, is I'm going to guess that the first time one of these pass defenses actually feels a little heat, they panic. You've been the number one pass defense all year, and you're like, hey, all this stuff we do is not working. What the hell's going on? And they freak out and they make mistakes because explain to me otherwise how he's picking apart the league's best pass defenses.
It's the extra time to prep. It's the Andy Reid essentially extra bye week that you get in a lot of these games. Not every single playoff game, but in the Super Bowl, you always get the gap. If you're a number one seed, you get the gap, the bye week there as well. I think that's part of the equation. And then it's just what we know. We've said it over and over throughout this dynasty run, whether it's Mahomes or Kelsey in particular, there's just a different level of their play. A switch is flipped, whatever phrase you want to use to describe it. And the numbers back it up. It's not something that you just throw out there and you don't have anything to back it up. We just went through it. There are 5 different key categories against number one defenses in the playoffs, and nobody
dominates.
And not just being like, oh, he's pretty. Nobody's been better since 1950. So, yes, this would also include Tom Brady.
It's probably just some dude like Bart Starr or some nonsense.
Among all quarterbacks with 2 or more playoff starts against number one pass defenses, he's first. Now, I'd be curious, maybe when we reset this, we can look up. I'm fascinated to know where Tom Brady is in this same thing. How many number one defenses did Brady play in the playoffs, and what were his numbers? I'm guessing his numbers were pretty darn good as well. But remember, there was a lot of years, and it's fine, just like this Chiefs team is still overall, I think, carried by the defense, despite putting up 32 points against Buffalo. I'm imagining his numbers are pretty darn good, but they're not the same level. Most importantly, it's the fact that you're 3-0 in the playoffs. I don't really care what your numbers are. Just did you win or not? We don't in the regular season.
But it's easier to win when you play at that level.
No doubt. All of a sudden, your team is scoring 37 points per game. We know this year this offense wasn't anywhere near that, but last week, they put up 32, a season high against Buffalo. We know the last time they played the Eagles, it was 2 years ago, different team. They had to put up 38. 35 wouldn't have been good enough. It was 38-35 win against Philadelphia.
There's so a lot of this comes into, and Buffalo's come into the playoffs with a top 5 defense. 3 of the 4 times they have lost to Kansas City in the playoffs, they came into the playoffs with a top 5 defense. Any of those games low scoring? No. Mahomes put up as many points as he felt necessary. This all comes back to just what has separated him. This is why, people will be like, well, it's hard to get in the GOAT conversation because of the sheer number of rings. Tom Brady got to win some Super Bowls because he came into the playoffs with a top-ranked defense, and Bill Belichick made sure it mattered. Patrick Mahomes has come in now in the last couple of years with a good defense, and anytime he has a good defense, as we know, they win it. Like, if they've got a mediocre defense to bad defense, it's harder. Maybe they lose the Super Bowl, maybe maybe takes them to an AFC title game and they lose. But if they have a top 10 defense, they win. Patrick Mahomes, now in the postseason, including this last game against Buffalo, is 17-3. So in 20 games, he is 17-3. He has thrown for 5,557 passing yards and 43 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. He's a monster. And against top defenses, it doesn't matter. If you're ever well, I think this game's going to be low scoring because the Eagles defense is so good. No, it's not. He will score on them. He scores in the Super Bowls. He scores in the AFC title games. He scores against top-ranked defenses. You should not be thinking that's the way they're going to lose. If the Eagles can't score, they're screwed. It's a problem because Kansas City will put up a certain number of points.
Well, yesterday we referenced the double-digit stuff. You know, the Chiefs have trailed by double digits in all these Super Bowls. We know they've been able to win 3 of them, but they've trailed by double digits. It is way more problematic. We'll ask Ross Tucker this and see if he agrees. I think it's pretty obvious at this point, but we'll see, which is what team is in bigger trouble down 10 points early on in the game? I think the answer is Philadelphia because of what they want to do. They don't throw the ball a lot, even though they have playmakers on the outside and A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. But it's about Saquon, right? They want to be able to play their tempo, their style of game. The Chiefs, you don't want to be down double digits. Nobody does, but they've come back from double digits in Super Bowls 3 times. We know this offense is able to, even this year, I know people want to talk about I don't think they have the explosives. It's not about the explosives. They can still sustain drives when they have to have it, and they did that against Buffalo ultimately, and they put up a season-high 32 points. So that's definitely part of the equation. But that stat in the graphic, it was actually from NFL Network that against these top pass defenses, the numbers are absolutely off the charts. It's pretty ridiculous to think about what he's been able to do.
I would just tell you historically, I would think Jalen Hurts, as we'd pointed out, was in the MVP-ish conversation a couple of years ago before he faced Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs.
Yeah, if he doesn't get hurt that year, Cody, I think he wins it.
Maybe, but I'd say the same thing about Carson Wentz. I'm not blown away with him, but it just kind of depends.
Carson Wentz was out for the rest of the year. I mean, Jalen Hurts missed 3 games or 4 games, and then something like that, and then came back. I know. I'm just saying, Carson Wentz was done. That's why Nick Foles was able to lead him to a Super Bowl.
Just nuts. That's just how good, once again, a Howie Roseman-led roster was. That's why he is.
Sure.
The fact that he had a winning team with Carson Wentz. He won a Super Bowl, even though Nick Foles had to take that team over. They've taken Jalen Hurts to 2 Super Bowls. There's a reason why the league generally tries to argue between whether Howie Roseman is the best GM in football or whether Brett Veach is the best GM in football. But they typically counteract each other. Mahomes is too good for those. And I think that this is one of those things that where when I start looking at matchups for the game, Philadelphia does have a really good defense, and they are led in their pass defense by 2 incredibly young corners, including a couple of great rookies, right? I don't feel like that's what you want against Patrick Mahomes. I don't care how good they've been all year. They now have to figure out what Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are doing against them. So Cooper DeJean can be as good as he's been all year. I'll still take my chances with a rookie corner lining up on the other side against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and Matt Nagy, whatever, right? That seems to me to be a very favorable matchup for Kansas City. Not oh, no, their corners are too good, as they go for the threesome, as we've said on the show.
Hashtag threesome. That's not trademark that we know of.
No, hashtag threesome, hashtag congrats on the threesome if they win it. Whatever you need to move through the thing.
Our big game coverage on 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by Community America Credit Union. Member-owned, open to all, invested in you. Join today at CommunityAmerica.com. Again, in 20 minutes, Ross Tucker will join us from New Orleans, our Odyssey NFL insider. We all know last week, or 2 weeks ago it has been almost at this point, against Buffalo, the tush push, the Chiefs fared very well against that. They knew that Josh Allen always goes left on the tush push, and they shut him down on the 4th and 1. The 4th and 1 that has no controversy around it or anything like that. They were able to come up with a stop.
I still don't understand the people that are he got it, and know that
you
it's
can't
a fact,
definitively say he did or didn't, but the ruling on the field was he didn't get it, so they didn't overturn it. Are you guys feeling better about this? Because the Chiefs doing it against Josh Allen, I think, has caused some people to be way more confident against the tush push. I'm not really there, though. This is a different animal against Philadelphia. They're the creators of the tush push. Jalen Hurts.
The brotherly shove, as they called it for a while.
That's right.
There,
I guess in Philly they probably
tush push
still
is
do.
what that's generic. Mm-hmm. Brotherly shove is like Kleenex. That's the brand. That's the brand name of theirs.
I think Burkhardt always that Burkhardt might say that about 10 times.
Brotherly shove.
I think he says
it's
that
their
every
thing
time.
in Philly, and I get it. They call it that. Look, it's an unbelievably effective play. Even though it's boring and it's aesthetically boring to watch, but nobody does it better than Jalen Hurts. And the reason why they're so successful at it is, nobody has more lower body strength at the quarterback position.
He's a freak, yeah.
He's a freak. Lower body strength is insane. Oh, and then now they have Saquon. You want to talk about just a freak at the gym in terms of some of these videos since his college days.
Remember those times he's doing those deadlifts with
it's insane.
2 tons of weights on or whatever.
His legs are truly, like everybody always say, like tree trunks, but like it.
Truthfully, might actually
be tree trunks. So they're just better at doing it than Buffalo is. So while it's nice to know that the Chiefs were able to slow it down, different animal. 2 years ago in the Super Bowl, the Eagles had success doing it. The key, it sounds so simple and easy. It's not. The key is going to be, can you prevent them from having a 3rd and goal at the 2 or the 1? Can it be 3rd and goal from the 5? Can it be a 4th and 2 or 3 instead of a 4th and 1? If it's 3rd and 4, can you keep it to where they don't, are you able to hopefully force them to pass the ball so where it's still 4th and 4? That's the name of the game. I don't think you're going to consistently be able to stop it. I know
Drew, you're going to lose some. They lost some in the last Super Bowl.
Drew, you brought up in pre-show, you're like, hey, the Commanders were able to slow it down. I'm sure there's some things on tape the Chiefs are going to look at and see what did they do differently. I just think it's more about setting up the situations where how many opportunities are you going to give them to do the tush push? Can you limit them to 5 of them, 4 of them during the game, and specifically away from the goal line?
If you just stay out of that third, because with third, we saw it with the Commanders.
3rd and 2 or 3.
They'll run it 2 times in a row. You just stay out. If you can make it 3rd and 5+, then you get yourself out of that situation more often than not, unless they get to 4th and 1, and then they'll do it. But even the offensive line, I know that Jason Kelce obviously isn't there, but they've had the injury issues, like Jurgens. Didn't play.
Fine even without Kelce.
He didn't play, and then he had to come in. Well, that's why he didn't play. Dickerson was in there. They struggled. Dickerson got hurt. Jurgens came back in the game, even though he was supposed to not play. So I don't know if their injury issues are better. I would assume so, since it's been a couple weeks. But that might be something to follow as well in terms of them being able to stop it.
This year, the tush push, 82.4% success rate in short yardage for them.
But I think was it higher than that last year?
Let's see.
It was like 90.
I think it's a slight difference.
Here we go. I'm trying to pull it
90.
up.
I'm not saying they're not effective. The 80% success rate on any play in the NFL is nuts.
So this year, 82.4.
Okay.
88.1 last year.
Okay, so it's not
6%.
nothing.
It's a pretty decent
And
dip.
the Chiefs have proven to be better against it. I think part of it is personnel. Their offensive line is struggling more, not just because of the Jason Kelce thing. They've had injuries there, so they haven't been as good. And when you have a player like Chris Jones, and I think actually in a weird way, Leo Chanel, people who are athletic mismatches for people where you might be able to utilize them in slightly different ways, that's why I think they're better than other people at making that stop. Do I think the Chiefs are going to be successful in stopping that all the time? No. They're going to
We just said the percentage, 82% of the time.
They're going to lose on some of those. And you're just going to have to accept it. It's fine. If it's 3rd and 1, be like, all right, this is a first down. How do they get a stop on the next couple of downs is all you're asking yourself. Because unless, and we haven't seen a ton of this still from Philly, is unless it's the Super Bowl and they got some wrinkle to pull back out of that thing.
Well, I'm sure they do. They
dive the ball down the field. They haven't done it a ton. They haven't done it 0, but they haven't done it a ton. Then they're not going to, just as long as they don't catch Kansas City sleeping in that way, I'm okay with the normal amount of tush-push success. That just comes with the territory playing the Eagles.
Yeah, there'll be a wrinkle or two off of it. I think was it the Packers game that they did have a. I think it was the Packers game. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm missing the weeks up.
Could be.
They had a wrinkle and they ended up throwing the football out of it. And that's where you have to all of a sudden. It's one thing to give up the 2-yard tush push. It's another to give up a 30-yard gain. So it's the big plays are key. I heard Mitch Holthus talking with Carrington on Monday in regards to just Barkley in the big plays too. We've said everybody understands it. Like, hey, he can get his yards, but you can't let him get the 50-plus yarder. I believe Mitch said that in the last 3 or 4 years that the Chiefs have only given up like a handful of 60-plus yard runs or 50-plus yard runs over the last couple of years.
That Saquon's been better at doing that than pretty much anyone in the league, I imagine, this year. I told you that stat that's crazy. This is always like system in place and everything else that like fits you better. Like everybody is known, even when he was on loser teams, that Saquon Barkley was one of the most talented running backs in the entire NFL. Everybody knew that. They didn't know if he was going to come back from the injury, but nobody questioned his elite level of talent. The fact that in one single year in Philadelphia, he has more 50-plus yard rushing touchdowns than he had his entire time as a New York Giant tells you all you need to know. He had 4 years to accomplish that feat, 5 years, and he was hurt for one of them, but 5 years to accomplish that feat, and in 1 year in Philly, he equaled all of his 50-yard touchdowns. Because they're dangerous, because you have to respect A.J. Brown. You have to respect great offensive line. And he's an elite level talent, and they're a functional organization. Functional organizations will make players look a little better. I don't think it's ever the jump that people pretend in their head it's going to be. Like, fans typically think some 700-yard receivers coming to your town, and now they're 1,200 because they're just here instead. But, I mean, you can see the difference with Saquon. I mean, he's the most dangerous player on the field for them, obviously. On Sunday, I don't imagine anybody feels different.
There's no doubt. I mean, he's an incredible talent, and he's putting together a historically great season. And you're not stopping him. It's about limiting him. But I'll be honest, I told you, and later on we'll go through some prop bets, and then tonight I've got that betting show on from 6 to 7 here on 96.5 The Fan. We'll go through all sorts of prop bets. But, I'm waiting for the Barkley number to keep going up. And I'm going to bet the under on it. Last week or 2 weeks ago, it was 100. It was a crazy number. It was 130, and it's nowhere near that. It's like 110-ish. It was 130. He had that 60-yard run, and it still went under. My point being is, there's, that's a lot of yards still. I just don't believe the Chiefs
you could give up one 50-yard touchdown, just not multiple.
I don't believe the Chiefs are giving up 140 yards to Saquon Barkley. I just don't. Last year, Christian McCaffrey, incredible back as well. He had 80 on the ground, 80 receiving, but the 80 on the ground was, 22 carries, something like that?
Yeah, it was work. It was hard work.
Barkley's going to touch the ball probably 25, 30 times in the game. But
they're not going to forget to give it to Saquon, right?
I don't believe
I've just seen a few
too
many teams against the Chiefs legitimately forget who they are as an organization.
I don't think
they're
Kellen
going
Moore,
the opposite of who they are.
I don't believe Kellen Moore will do that. I don't think they'll pull a Harbaugh and Ravens from last year running it 6 times. No, I think they know what they are offensively. I will say that. Now, if they get down, this is to the point earlier, if they are down double digits, the way the Chiefs have been down double digits in Super Bowls, then it's a question, do they stick with it? If they're down 10-0 and it's early second quarter,
do they just try to open it up to A.J. Brown?
If they're smart, they continue to try to stick with their game plan.
I think so.
Or does Nick Sirianni and Kellen Moore, at that point in time, do they feel like, they have to throw the ball around the yard, and that's where Jalen Hurts makes a mistake? That's the ideal scenario for the Chiefs. I don't know if the Chiefs will get up double digits in this game. All I know is they have been down double digits in every one of these Super Bowls, and we all know they were able to come back in all of them except for the worst one of the bunch, and that was Tampa. Coming up in 10 minutes, Ross Tucker, Odyssey NFL Insider, is going to join us. Thinking of perhaps some talented players that have been on the move. You mentioned Barkley moving from the Giants to the Eagles. Well, we know Myles Garrett yesterday requested a trade. He's ironically enough down on Radio Row in New Orleans as well. So I know he's promoting something, but also that's I'm sure Cleveland is feeling great that he's doing all these interviews the day after
he requested a trade. Someone's paying him a couple $100 grand probably to walk to all these tables.
Absolutely,
I'd take the check
probably
too.
Doing some Sleep Number endorsement or something. So the Chiefs are co-favorites offshore at Bovada.
That's surprising.
To trade for Myles Garrett. Now, we had Nate Taylor on the show yesterday, and he was going through kind of like we are, which is like, okay, all the different things, Cody, that would have to happen for that. Now, Myles Garrett wants to go to contender, and check that box. That's what
Chiefs have that covered.
Ultimately, that's why they're co-favorites. We've said this for years now. When you're the Patriots, it happened to any free agent that's not a quarterback, any star player that wants to be traded, the Chiefs are going to be in the top 2 to 3 in odds for every player because most of those guys that want to get traded say they want to go win a Super Bowl. And when you are in a dynasty like the Patriots were or the Chiefs are now, you're going to be at the top of the list. It doesn't, that to me is what this says more than anything. Not that they have some inside scoop that the Chiefs are interested in trading for Myles Garrett.
They just say putting the Chiefs at the top allows you to maybe mention them before it.
Yeah.
Look, I'd entertain it. Anytime elite level players are on the market, I'm interested if they're interested in being here. I think you'd have to ask yourself one real question about it is, would you give up draft capital and have to pay both guys and trade him for George Karlaftis? Because that's what you have to ask, is would you be willing to give up a second-round pick and George Karlaftis? Because you have to pay either. So, let's take the money out of it for just a minute. Myles Garrett, if you're going to trade for him, you're likely to probably continue to try to sign him for an extension. Plus, he's already making a lot of money. And George Karlaftis is going to get paid by somebody, whether it's Kansas City this time around or the next time. Someone's going to give George Karlaftis a hefty sum of cash. The gap between Garrett and Karlaftis is not nothing. Okay, I mean it's not nothing.
The reigning defensive player of the year.
It's there's a gap there, and the idea that I can have Chris Jones and Myles Garrett on the same defensive line does sound like the league's best defensive line, even if I know no other players who are on it. Their problem is I don't think they can do sunk cost into two players at that price point. That's why they had to have all these one-year deals. That's why it was even a couple years. They're bringing back Dana and Turk and all these guys that had to come back to kind of fill back in the offensive line. You bring in Garrett. I think you got to do that again.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that because of the draft picks. And this is the consequence. You can cover mistakes and still get to a Super Bowl, clearly, and that's why Brett Veach has done a great job. But when you have the left tackle situation, long-term answers backfire the way it has, which was Wanye and obviously Kingsley, who looks like he's going to eventually be a guard for this team. And they don't have a long-term answer at left tackle. Well, where does that hurt you? It didn't hurt you on the field, per se, in terms of getting to a Super Bowl because you're here, thanks to Joe Thuney. But it has long-term repercussions in how you build your roster. The fact that you whiffed on a tackle or two. So that's still a major pressing issue for them after the Super Bowl. And I'm not giving up my first-round pick that I might need to use to either draft one again or stockpile picks to move up in the first or stockpile picks to go pull off an Orlando Brown Jr. type trade like they did a couple years ago for a veteran.
If you're using picks, you don't want to be using them on tackle.
If they would
defensive line, though, man, I mean, you could never have too many good defensive linemen or great ones in this case.
If you hit on Kingsley and you had him on a rookie deal and you're like, oh, we're good, well, then obviously that's a position you don't have to waste assets on. I'm willing to go luxury shopping. You can't do that. I would love to go buy. We all have that thing that we're like, I don't really need it. It'd be nice to buy it.
But I got some extra cash, so time to go get it.
But I got to pay the car payment. Even that trip to the Bahamas seems nice, but
it's more like the brakes. In this case, it's like I need to fix the leak in my engine. That's what left tackle is at this point. It's not a side luxury. Yeah. It's either you want that coach purse for your wife or you want to fix the leak in the engine, and you're like, well, maybe that because of the offensive line problems. They do have one big advantage is they are going into next year, I think, already in pretty good shape at wide receiver, not even knowing if DeAndre Hopkins or Hollywood Brown or anybody came back on a one-year deal and are paying no money. They got wide receiver locked down cheap next year. Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice on nothing deals. Let's just say they brought back Hollywood Brown. I'd say same risk as the time before. Guy can't get on the field, but we obviously see the impact he has for the Chiefs when he is on the field, so you probably take that chance again. Let's say another $10 million there. Well, you'd have your number 1, 2, and 3 wide receivers making $1 million, $1 million, and $10 million. I mean, you can't do wide receiver for a championship contending team a lot less than that, but you'll be paying your right tackle, center, left guard, unless Tooney's going somewhere I don't know about, and in search of a left tackle. So, your whole offensive line might make up all the difference on what you're trying to pay a wide receiver. The problem is I think they got to draft again at left tackle. I think you can go out and spend the money again while you still got Jawan Taylor and these other guys on the books.
You either got to me move up in the draft because we've had this scenario for a couple of years now. I think we've learned by now that at 31 or 32, which is where they basically draft every year, you're not probably getting a starting left tackle. They thought they had one in Kingsley in the second round. You can say, so what are you talking about? But that's the point, is that the gap in talent after the first 15 picks at left tackle is a huge gap. And this year's draft,
use those picks to go.
Either trade up or I would be interested. Is there a guy that's on a final year of his rookie deal, like Orlando Brown Jr. was a couple years ago,
who's just a good, stable left tackle that you're willing to pay?
And you bring him in and let it play out the final year of the rookie deal. And if he's that dude, then you pay him. Obviously, you hope it turns out better than Orlando Brown Jr. But that type of trade, I'm not saying trade for Orlando Brown Jr. I'm saying that type of trade in the same scenario would be something I'm interested in. We're just getting started here on a Wednesday. We're going to head down to New Orleans next, check in with our Odyssey NFL insider, Ross Tucker, get his perspective on perhaps how good this Eagles offensive line is and the task the Chiefs front is going to have coming up here on 96.5 The Fan.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
Super Bowl 59 is your chance to hit the jackpot on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel's $5 million touchdown jackpot, you can win a share of $5 million in bonus bets. All you have to do is place an anytime touchdown score bet before the game kicks off. And if your player scores the first or last touchdown, you'll win your bet plus a share of bonus bets. Whether you're watching your favorite team or rooting against your rivals, FanDuel is giving everyone something to cheer for during Super Bowl 59. So don't miss your chance to score in the biggest game of the year with FanDuel's $5 million touchdown jackpot. Just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to get in on the action. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Each $2.5 million prize pool to be split equally among all eligible participants who made the correct picks. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 21 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
At Jefferson's, our favorite day is game day, especially on Kansas City game day. We know our guys in red like to play down to the wire, and we're here for every second of it. Our ice-cold beers pair perfectly with a blocked field goal. Our double-dip wings taste even crispier when KC makes yet another game-changing play. It just tastes better when you're watching at a bar that's owned and operated locally. Join us on game day and every day at Jefferson's, 87th Street in Lackman in Lenexa and North Kansas City on Armour Road. Jefferson's, wings, burgers, oysters.
Don't let clogged drains slow you down. Call Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter today for our $79 mainline drain clearing special. The pros at Hamilton will inspect your drains with video camera technology to pinpoint exactly what is needed to clear those clogs and help prevent expensive drain repairs. The expert technicians at Hamilton are ready 7 days a week to solve your problem the right way, the first time. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews ensures your peace of mind. Visit callhamilton.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2024-11121.
Kansas City is gearing up for their third straight championship title game, and Academy Sports and Outdoors has everything you need to rep your team during their historic run. Swing by your local Academy store today or shop online at academy.com to find officially licensed team gear in game-changing styles, from jerseys and tees to hoodies and hats, all at prices you'll love. Get the best KC gear for the biggest game of the year. Shop Nike, 47 brand, and more Kansas City styles at Academy.
Pheasants Forever's National Pheasant Fest and Quail Classic is coming to the Kansas City Convention Center this March 7th through the 9th. Join us for puppy and dog training seminars, a youth village for kids, pollinator and wildlife habitat hunting gear in the 20th anniversary of Quail Forever. It's National Pheasant Fest and Quail Classic the weekend of March 7th. Presented by Pheasants Forever, Quail Forever, and Federal Ammunition. For more information, log on to pheasantfest.org.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone. And even better, HIMS can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Right now at Wendy's, get 2 of these fave items for just $7. The spicier classic chicken sandwich, Dave's single, or 10-piece nugs. It's an incredible deal, but an insanely difficult choice. Do you go double chicky sando, both spicy and classic, 1 beefy and 1 chicky? Or maybe you go all in on one and go Nug Max. 2 faves for just $7? Gotta be Wendy's.
At participating Wendy's for a limited time only. Select a request 2 for $7 deal to redeem. Not valid in a combo or with saucy nugs. Single item at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Gearing up for the big game? We are too. Join us on the Moth Podcast for a special episode dedicated to hilarious true stories about football, family, and growing up.
I loved Franco Harris so much that in 1975, I invited him to my bar mitzvah. And it was so cool that he actually sent me a telegram.
Each week on the Moth Podcast, we share stories that are funny, strange, and above all, true. Find the Moth Podcast on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Arvest Bank, believing in the power of serving others.
Arvest Bank believes in the power of serving others. That's why we're committed to supporting those who serve our communities. We believe that all communities deserve a financial partner who cares. Arvest, we believe.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
All right, back here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. Coming up in 30 minutes, we'll be joined by former Chief Safety, a Super Bowl champ, a 3-time All-Pro, currently New Orleans Saint, Tyrann Mathieu. Super Bowl in his hometown, his home state. So it'll be good to catch up with Tyrann Mathieu in just a bit. It's always good to catch up with our guy, Ross Tucker. He's out on the Pheasant Fest hotline. National Pheasant Fest and Quail Classic is coming to Kansas City Convention Center March 7th to the 9th. Visit pheasantfest.org. And, of course, Ross Tucker's got his Ross Tucker Football Podcast, a daily NFL podcast on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast. I must say as well, Ross, you got quite the setup there on Radio Row, man. That's big time.
Yeah, you like that? That's pretty cool. I'm looking at it. My recording window is 11 to 1. And right now where I'm going to be recording, Jaden Daniels is talking to the Golics. So
nice.
There's a lot of people around the set right now. So I got you guys, and I got like a 5-minute break, and then I'll be recording a lot of interviews. So
we appreciate you coming on the show. How is New Orleans, though? You've been to a lot of these. I think I saw you said, 17 Super Bowl Radio Row? Is that right?
I don't know. No, that was a reply to Kyle Brandt about how many fake conversations I've had so far.
Okay, I got you. Okay.
How many of those conversations? But no, I would say starting in 2009, I want to say over the last 15 years, I've been at 2/3 of them probably. For various reasons. There were some I haven't been to. So I would say this is my 10th in person. Radio Row, Super Bowl, I would guess, somewhere in that range.
It feels like it's been so long. Can you even remember doing a Super Bowl Radio Row in which the Chiefs were not one of the two teams involved?
You're gross, dude. Trying to think. No, I can't. What was the Super Bowl before this started?
Rams Bengals would have been the only one, yeah.
Was that Rams Patriots?
Rams Bengals within the middle of this run, obviously, right?
Yeah, but I didn't go to L.A.
Oh, okay.
So I definitely didn't do
so
that
Rams
one.
Patriots,
but
probably.
I did Rams Patriots, and I did Eagles Patriots for sure for a company called The Zone.
Okay.
So I was definitely doing stuff those years. Yes.
So almost a clean decade. Let's look at this matchup because Ross, I think it's really interesting when you start boiling down. I think there's legitimate arguments to be made on either side. So I'll ask you one question to start. Which of these two teams has the better defensive line in your mind?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say the Eagles probably. I think it's comparable. I really do. I think Jalen Carter and Chris Jones are comparable. I think you have to give it to Chris Jones based on how many times he's done it in big games. I think after that is where it gets interesting. I think Sweat and Karlaftis are probably a wash. I would say that Nolan Smith has really come on. He was the second first-round pick they took out of Georgia last year, and I think he leads all NFL players in sacks this postseason. I think he's got maybe 4.5. So he's really come on. It's crazy. You guys will appreciate this, but he played a lot in the last preseason game. I do the preseason game for the Eagles, and I want to say that he played half, the whole first half, which is not a good sign.
Not usually,
you're
no.
out there, that's not a good sign, and yet He's just gotten better and better. So they need those guys to win. The two thoughts I would say I think are critically important as it relates to the Eagles is that whoever Tooney and Caliendo are blocking, if they get one-on-ones, those guys have to find a way to win. I suspect that the Chiefs will slide the line often in their direction, meaning Creed Humphrey has the inside for Caliendo. Caliendo has Tooney's inside, so they kind of have three guys to block two. What that means, though, is that you could argue the single most important one-on-one matchup of the Super Bowl could be my favorite offensive lineman in the league, Trey Smith, against Jalen Carter, the right guard for the Chiefs against the Eagles' best D tackle, who primarily lines up over the right guard. That is going to be incredible. Like I could legitimately watch a camera that's just on those guys the whole game because they're both incredible players, but maybe more importantly, they are junkyard dogs. Like Jalen Carter, as we've seen too many times, is not afraid to punch you in the face, and I kind of think Trey Smith will punch him back. So it's amazing. I had a chance to interview Trey Monday night. Just an awesome guy, and I hope you guys enjoy him in this game because I highly suspect that, I don't know if it's the Titans or the Bears, but someone's going to make him the highest paid offensive guard in NFL history in March.
I think you're exactly right on that. I think we are going to watch his final game in a Chiefs uniform on Sunday in New Orleans as we're talking to Ross Tucker, Odyssey NFL Insider. All our guests are brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of your Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy, drink responsibly. Where would you put Nick Sirianni in kind of the coaching hierarchy in the league? He's a controversial figure, I think is fair to say, with the way he goes about his business, but he's in his second Super Bowl already.
Yeah, I think he's a top 10 coach for sure. I'd have to go through and actually list them out. And you can say, and people do a lot about how much talent they have, and I get that, but there have been a lot of other talented teams that don't get to the Super Bowl 2 times in 3 years, right? I mean, if nothing else, he doesn't screw it up, number one. And then number two, the players really like him. I'm talking off the air, right? When I talk to these guys, they
You're the
really
second
like
guest in
him.
a row to mention that too. Somebody yesterday said that same thing, Ross.
Yeah, they you know what the most important thing is for a coach, I think, is to just be genuine, just be authentic, and he is certainly that. I mean, there's no question he is that, and I think stylistically, his passion and emotion is a huge positive. It probably gets him in trouble, every now and again. But the players are kind of okay with that. He's trying to eliminate that part of it. It is interesting, though, how much people frame how they feel about someone like him based almost solely on those moments as opposed to, all the success he's had.
When you look at what it is, and I get you with the genuine part of it and the not screwing it up part of it, I guess this always comes back to just the gap between. I also think McDermott is a good coach, but I also said that the Bills should probably move on from him because you have got to find a way to close the gap between what you are and what the Chiefs are. And you can't, quarterback's quarterback, and Josh Allen's great. That gap, I think, is somewhat narrow anyway. Like McDermott or the GM or something feel like a thing. I don't know if it's just that Andy Reid is a gap between anybody right now, because I don't feel the way about every coach, but I still feel like the drop-off from Andy Reid to Sirianni can make the difference in a field goal game like the last Super Bowl.
Yeah, a couple thoughts on that. So first of all, that's why in a close game, one-score game, I don't see many people picking the Eagles with Hurts and Sirianni over a team with 2 first-ballot Hall of Famers at quarterback and head coach.
Yeah.
We've seen a large percentage of time, not always, that these same Eagles beat Tom Brady and Bill Belichick with Doug Peterson and Nick Foles back in 2017. So it's not always, but over time, the Hall of Fame head coach, Hall of Fame quarterback, they're going to win the vast majority of those games. I will say this, though. Hurts is – we can have a debate about how good Hurts is and if he's a top 10 quarterback. I think a lot of people would say to you that he's not. So on some level, that makes what Sirianni's done even more impressive, right? I know that Andy Reid's a great coach and Andy Reid's done awesome, but his quarterback might be the best guy that's ever played the position. So I think sometimes it's hard to separate those. I don't know what would happen if Sirianni was coaching the Chiefs and Andy Reid was coaching the Eagles. I would really like to see. I'm not saying that Sirianni's better than Andy Reid by any stretch. I just don't know. One of the things that makes football really hard, this is not baseball where, it's a one pitcher to one batter. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, and part of that has to do with the different moving parts. Eagles have the better roster, but the Chiefs had the better quarterback. Everybody's been saying all week, Eagles have the better roster, and I agree with that, right? But then someone said to me, do they really? I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, yeah, look at this guy. Look, number one offensive line, number one, this, that, running back. It's okay. If you were starting a team, which roster would you want? Would you want the Chiefs roster or would you want the Eagles roster? And the truth is, I would want the Chiefs roster because I want Mahomes.
Right.
I can do other stuff. I can make other stuff happen around Mahomes, but I can't make Hurts as good as Mahomes.
When you look at Saquon Barkley, we all know how special player he is. We know the track record. I'm sure it's been talked about there in New Orleans as much as it has anywhere as well, which is Steve Spagnuolo against running backs in the playoffs. He hasn't given up a 100-yard running back in 14 games, I think it's up to at this point in time. What do you think the plan will be for Kansas City? You think they sell out on the run and say, beat us with A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, one-on-one, we trust McDuffie and Watson? Or do you think the Chiefs will kind of play, I don't know, play back is the right way to phrase it, but how do you think they'll attack that?
It's a really interesting question because it's not a simple answer, because if you say stop the run and stack the box, I understand that, but that's where he gets his long runs.
Mm-hmm.
You might be able to stop a bunch, but then you're putting them in a situation where you've got a single high safety in the middle of the field. If Saquon gets past the second level, good luck to that guy. Whereas if you have two deep safeties, those guys can kind of angle off of each other and give themselves a better chance to be able to not let Saquon go long. I don't know, man. I guess I kind of feel like let's make the Eagles prove that they can go the distance. I would not want Saquon to be breaking off 60, 70-yard runs. I might do more two safety looks. They're going to change it up, but I might do a few more two safety looks to change it up a little bit.
When you look at because on the opposite end, it's always like I ask these questions because you're like, well, if you know what they're great at, why don't you do something about it? Patrick Mahomes running in the playoffs. Everybody knows he runs more. He's more effective in the playoffs. He does it to an almost perfect success rate. How has nobody cracked that code, I guess, is what I would ask, Ross. And is it the undesigned nature of it and the idea that he's not a running quarterback so you don't really spy that changes it? Why can't anybody stop it?
Well, it is the non-designed runs that are the tough part. And I think we've asked this about scrambling quarterbacks forever, and we always will. There's not a great answer, right? I mean, if you want to do a mush rush where you're designed to not let him escape the pocket and run, you can do that, but then you're not going to get nearly as much pressure on him, and he's probably going to pick you apart because he's Patrick Mahomes. If you want to get pressure on him, then you're going to create some seams. He's as good as we've ever seen at finding those and then taking it and running with it. The question, though, is then you can spy him, but we've seen a lot of examples. If you're spying him, you're probably playing man-to-man. So your spy better get him, because if he doesn't get him, you're in trouble. And then you're playing man-to-man behind it, which I still think is better against the Chiefs. That's what I would do. I would spy Mahomes. I would play man-to-man behind it and take my chances if I'm the Eagles with my secondary, probably put Gardner Johnson on Travis Kelce, maybe even Blankenship, the other safety, is the spy, or maybe he's middle of the field and one of the linebackers spies Patrick. But that's what I would do. I certainly wouldn't play zone and let Travis Kelce just break my heart every third down.
All right, a couple quick questions at the end. Number one, people on the text line want us to ask you. They said you were just on Philly radio. Ask Ross who he wants to win the game.
Yes. So, well, you guys know, first of all.
Yeah. We know where you're from.
Eagles. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, I grew up a huge Eagles fan, but they never wanted me. So I played for 5 other teams. But then I live back in the area now. I do their preseason games. I do 2 hours on WIP every week. I do 2 other shows for the Eagles organization themselves. And taking it a step further, on Thursday last week, after I spoke to you guys, I was so happy to be flying home on Friday to watch the game on TV. My older daughter, turning 13 on Sunday, like Saquon Barkley and Cooper DeJean, and she said, "Daddy, can you please take me to the Super Bowl for my birthday?" So I was trying to avoid that, and I said, "Oh, honey, I don't know. I don't know if that's the best idea." And she said, "Okay, Daddy, I understand." I was like, "Okay, fine, we're going."
Awesome. Boy, she got you.
Too sweet and nice about it. So I'm flying back down Sunday morning, and with my entire family, we're going to the game. So I definitely hope the Eagles win, because since I work for the team, my family's very much Eagles fans. So I hope the Eagles win, but I don't know. I'm getting everybody mad, actually, because on WIP radio in Philadelphia, I picked the Chiefs to win 27-24. So I have found a way. Usually you do it the other way.
You made everyone
find
mad.
a way to try to make happy. I don't know. I mean, it would be great. I also want the Eagles to win just because I like fresh blood. I like new guys getting a chance to win. There aren't many guys that were on the team 7 years ago, right? So for most of these guys, they get to win. I would honestly be rooting for pretty much anybody other than the Chiefs, because I don't see a lot of value in a lot of guys getting a 3rd ring or a 5th ring or whatever it is for those guys. I'd rather see guys get a chance to win their first one.
So I totally get obviously it's awesome you're taking your family to the Super Bowl. That's incredible, and congratulations for you doing that on Sunday. But you don't appreciate take the Eagles out of it for a second. Like you said, against any team you would root for that team, not the Chiefs. The 3P part of it, as someone that played in the league, I mean, I'm not saying you don't respect what they're doing. That's not what you're saying. But like, do you not appreciate the fact that they could do something that's never been done?
I absolutely appreciate it, and if they win, I will praise them for it and talk about how amazing it is. But that's not the same as me wanting them to win the game.
Gotcha. Yeah.
You know, I look at it as from a former player's perspective, where I want as many guys as possible to be able to have the ring ceremony, have the parade, you know, all of the things that go along with it. I don't want, you know, I don't know how many guys are still on the Chiefs roster from last year, but it seems like it's 40-something. I don't need all those guys to get a chance to experience it again.
I'm laughing.
Give me some fresh blood.
I'm laughing because if they win the Super Bowl on Sunday, there are members of the 2022 draft class who have been in the league 3 years and only won the Super Bowl. Trent McDuffie, George Karlaftis, Najee Johnson, Pacheco, etc. All of those guys will have been in the league for 3 years and won 3 Super Bowls in a row.
Yeah, I hate those guys. They don't know what the real world's like.
No. Yeah. Look, Ross, I need a Super Bowl champions hoodie for all 5 days of the week, man. I mean, they still need a couple more for me to be able to accomplish that. In all sincerity, though, Ross, we appreciate you.
You guys are obnoxious. Now I really want to move.
We appreciate you coming on throughout the season. Seriously, I think this will be our last conversation with you for the year, but it's been a ton of fun. Great insight. Enjoy New Orleans. Enjoy the game with your family.
All right, sounds great. Great talking with you guys. See ya.
There you go. That's Ross Tucker, our Odyssey NFL insider. All our guests are brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Kansas City's geared up for their 3rd straight title, and Academy Sports and Outdoors has everything you need to rep your team during their historic run.
They think that we're being smug now. Just you wait. Because if you think we're being smug now, if they win their 3rd Super Bowl on Sunday, then we're probably having a completely different conversation. Because then I'll never let anybody ever hear the end of it forever, right? I mean, that's how I assume it would be for you, Gold, and for me.
Yeah, I think that's right. We're going to have Tyrann Mathieu join us in just a moment. I think we may end up having him a few minutes early. Former chief safety, obviously Super Bowl champion, trying to join us here on 96.5 of The Fan. So we appreciate Ross joining us a little bit, but we'll have Tyrann Mathieu join us in just a bit. We'll actually get an earlier break in as well, and we'll talk to the former chief. Want to get his perspective. Obviously, the Super Bowl in his hometown, which is pretty cool. That's coming up next here on 96.5 The Fan.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health. the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Missouri sports fans, I've got good news. Underdog is available to play in your state. The best app for the big game on your phone. It's called Underdog. Super easy to use for the big game. Get in there. Play their champions game. You can win up to 1,000 times your money. Choose higher or lower on player stats. We're just talking about the running numbers with Patrick Mahomes. Maybe you like him to go higher than 29.5 rushing yards. You can choose that over at Underdog. Create those entries, those selections, mix and match, maybe across sports if you want, or just for the big game coming up on Sunday for a chance at real cash prizes while you watch the big game. Every dog deserves a second chance, too. So with Underdog Rescues, you can get your money back, receive a promo if an early injury caused your entry to lose. I got one of those in the NBA the other night, and it's the only Champions platform that puts the power to cash out in your hands. So you can keep it riding, or you can just tap Win Now, cash out whenever you want. Underdog is the best place to play Champions. Sign up and deposit now with promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P. Get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. And if you're in Missouri, you'll get an additional $50 in bonus cash when you play your first $5 entry using promo code TAPP. Must be 18 plus and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. $10 deposit minimum. See UnderdogFantasy.com for terms and conditions. Consider with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncpgambling.org.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is again ranked #1 in the nation for cancer care by U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals rankings. Our physicians treat more types of cancers in a day than many see in their whole career. This unmatched depth of expertise, combined with our groundbreaking discoveries, gives our patients access to the most innovative treatment options. Learn more at mdanderson.org.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and it's time to make a big deal out of nothing. Zero, like in 0% financing. Zero is back. Up to 0% financing on select 2024 and 2025 Subaru models for 72 months. Yeah, we did that too. And we're Google's highest review rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. 0% event and a lifetime warranty. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Google highest review rated Subaru retailer in Kansas City based on 2023 Google Analytics.
So you want a greener, thicker, healthier lawn? You need the local experts. I'm Noah with Gunner Pest and Lawn. My family's been helping Kansas City homeowners since 1950. You know us for bugs, but have you heard about our 7-step lawn care service? Our customers love having the best lawn on the block. No contracts, expert technicians, and our treatments typically cost less than doing it yourself. Starting as low as $50 per application. Go Gunter, go green.
Visit GunterPest.com.
It's almost game day, KC. Join Cody and Gold Friday from 10 to 2 as they broadcast live from the Rally House at Oak Park. Shop the latest KC styles and official big game gear. Plus, get entered to win a $250 Rally House gift card. Details at 965thefan.com.
Call Aspen Lawn and Pest Control. Our iconic blue trucks and expert team get it right the first time. Award-winning full-service lawn care and pest control since 1985. Call today for a free estimate. Visit aspenlawn.com.
Make Gates Barbecue your go-to for the Big Game Watch Party. Whether you're the host or a guest, the Big Game Watch Party won't be complete without Gates Barbecue sauce and seasonings. Gates seasonings go great on popcorn as a fun topping for dips or sprinkle on chips for that extra flavor pop. Nothing says the big game like a Gates party tray. Stop by any of their 5 locations and pick one up. You'll be the hit of the party. Spice up your Big Game Watch Party with Gates Barbecue. We still do it the old-fashioned way.
It's Super Bowl 59 week, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel makes it easy to place your bets and feel the thrill of every moment. Here's some of the fun bets in the app right now. Saquon to record 25 or more rushing yards in each quarter. Either quarterback to catch a pass. Jalen Hurts to score an octopus. A big man touchdown, and any offensive lineman to score a touchdown. And how about Noah Gray to score 2 touchdowns? Just place a $5 bet, and if you win, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com/Alex and bet with FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Big game coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by Community America Credit Union. Member owned, open to all, invested in you. Join today at communityamerica.com. You can listen to the play-by-play of the Chiefs and Eagles in Super Bowl 59 with Mitch, Danon, and Kling right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Back here on Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you on your home for the Chiefs, 96.5 The Fan. Coming up a little bit later on in the hour, we'll talk a little bit about the kicking game. Yes, the kicking game a bit. We know it was a factor, to say the least, last go-around.
Feels like it had been in every Super Bowl for the Chiefs.
No doubt. And there's some interesting numbers behind Jake Elliott, along with Harrison Butker, and of course how clutch Butker has been in the postseason. But we're excited to head down to New Orleans and head out to the Pheasant Fest Hotline, National Pheasant Fest and Quail Classic. Come to the Kansas City Convention Center March 7th to the 9th. Visit pheasantfest.org. In New Orleans is former chief safety, a Super Bowl champ, a 3-time All-Pro. He currently plays for the New Orleans Saints, Tyrann Mathieu. It's been a while, Tyrann, since we had you on the show, man. It's great to have you. We appreciate the time. What's it like just seeing the Super Bowl be in your town?
It's definitely good to talk to you guys, man. It's definitely been a while, and miss you guys. Yeah, for sure. Man, listen, man. New Orleans is one of those places, man. Like, they take pride in, these type of events, right? Like, people coming in town, people getting a good dose of, our culture down here, and everybody's excited, man. It's a whole bunch to do. And yeah, we've been looking forward to it.
For those who might be listening who haven't been down to New Orleans, give us some off the beaten path. Don't give them a Cafe Du Monde. Give them a place that they should go to that, that residents would go to, Tyrann.
Well, I'm gonna keep it all the way real with y'all, man. Like, it's 1,000 different restaurants, to go to out there. Some of those restaurants are world renowned. But I'll take it a step further, man. Like, I think you have to find a way to really, befriend like a local. Like, you have to go to somebody's grandma house, man. You got to go to somebody's great aunt house to get the real food, the real New Orleans food. You know what I mean? So that's what I would encourage everybody, man. Like before they head out of New Orleans, just find a house where you can stop at and get some food.
They're just gonna let me in.
Well, like I said, man, good thing it's the Super Bowl, so everybody's happy, right? Like, everybody's feeling, hospitable, and I think it'll work out.
What's it like for you to see a lot of the national narrative around a franchise that you helped start this dynasty that the Chiefs are in the middle of, and you have this national narrative about the league and conspiracies around officiating? To see people saying that kind of stuff when you obviously were part of this dynasty, or are part of this dynasty.
Yeah, man, I don't. I don't get it. I really don't understand it. I think the Chiefs are in such a good situation, man. I think the rest of the league is kind of aware of it as well. I think, obviously it goes without saying the success that, Patrick has and Coach Reed. But I think really, man, like, the X factor has been Spags, right? Like, the Spags has always, found a way to kind of get his defenses ready to go when they really needed to go. Even when I was there, we kind of started off slow at first, and by the time we got to playoffs, man, like we were in high gear, right? And Spags has been there 5 years now. So it's like, most times, when the defensive coordinator has that type of success, he doesn't stick around, right? Like, other teams are trying to pull him away, and I think the Chiefs have just been fortunate, man, to kind of have Coach Reed, Spags, Tobes, like that structure is still in place. And, outside of the players going out there making plays, I think having those three guys and that camaraderie, that familiarity, I think that's been the key. Like, that's been the X factor for me.
You've been around the league so long. With Spags, the thing that always stands out to me is how hard is it to still fool somebody? Like, he's still calling blitzers like, well, we didn't see that all year. I feel like at times, because of the amount of tape and all this stuff you guys can see, Tyrann, that it's pretty easy to kind of get a sense of people's habits or what you've seen over a 10-year period. It seems like he still fools teams. That always stands out to me. How hard is that, I guess, to do in the league?
I mean, it's extremely hard, especially with some of these quarterbacks, man. Like, like a lot of these guys aren't just physically gifted. Some of them are mentally, exceptional. You know what I mean? And cerebral, right? And a lot of these guys have seen it all. Even some of these younger quarterbacks, like those guys have played 3-4 years of college. So, like they have the experience, like they have the game experience. And so, but Spags, man, he's like one of those dudes, bro. Like, man, like I don't know if he goes home at night. He's probably he's probably like one of those guys that get like 3 hours of sleep a day. But he's excited, man. Like especially around this time, And I remember I used to have conversations with him, about the Giants, right? Like, and like what he was able to do, with against Tom Brady, right? And against Randy Moss and a 17-0 Patriots, like he always rises to the challenge. And I think a lot of that, man, is like competition, like challenge, like he's up for the challenge, right? Like, and he definitely wants to compete, man. And man, I'll probably not a hot take, but if he gets this done, this weekend, man, he'll probably be the greatest defensive coordinator of all time.
We have the most rings ever.
Yeah, we think he should be in the Hall of Fame, Tyrann. We think he should become. I think he'd be the first coordinator to get in, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, man, it's just been impressive. What he's been able to do, and that's not an easy defense to learn. Like that defense is complex, man. Like you need a safety, you need a couple safeties, you need corners, you need a linebacker, right? Like you need guys to get the quarterback, and he's been able to do it, man. Like year after year after year, and it's been exciting to watch, man.
All our guests here are brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of your Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Drink responsibly. We're talking to former Chief, a Super Bowl champ, current safety for the New Orleans Saints, Tyrann Mathieu. Do you stay in touch with whether it's Spags or any of the guys on the team?
Yeah, for sure. I'll probably say mostly the coaches. Obviously, it's a lot of guys that I talk to, on my side of the ball that aren't necessarily Chiefs. Still like, obviously Snead and Lil Mooney, Hitchens, different guys like that. Frank Clark, right? Colin Sanders, who's teammates with me right now. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, Coach Merritt, me and Coach Merritt talk probably once a week. Me and Spags as well. And, obviously Coach Reed, we probably text, more sparingly than the rest of the guys. But, and yeah, I was talking to Veach earlier this year, man. I was trying to tell him, like stop getting all the DBs, man. Like stop drafting all the good, unknown hidden gems. Like, you know what I mean? Like let those dudes sprinkle around the league, man. Because they do have a good defensive backfield, and it's been impressive, man, to see that from afar. Because a lot of times, man, you want guys that have experience. You want guys that able to kind of communicate in tough situations. You really want experienced guys. But I think with the Chiefs, man, like they've been able to kind of embrace this young culture, right? Like, and I think a lot of that credit goes to Coach Merritt, man, and Spags, just getting those guys ready to play because they've been one of the best, the last 3 years.
Of course, the Chiefs are trying to do something that's never been done in the Super Bowl era. That's the three-peat. When you step back to that Super Bowl you were a part of, and then now to see that they're trying to get their fourth ring, but third in a row. I mean, could you have ever imagined, though, that this group, you mentioned how constant the pieces are, but that they'd be trying to make history like that or capable of that?
Yeah, man. You know what, man? I think, even when I was there, like it was always a goal, right? Like that was always aspirations. I remember Chris Jones said one time, let's go get 5 rings, or, you know what I mean? And you never really think it's possible, but I think when you're able to put together like those type of seasons back to back, man, it becomes clear that like you can do it, and then when you come back next year and it's not too much turnover. And I know a lot of people talk about the wide receivers, but outside of that, man, that's probably the only position that you're plugging in guys. You know what I mean? And but for the most part, man, like it's been pretty stable over there. And obviously injuries play a part. Right, like injuries are usually like the leading cause to teams kind of starting to descend, so to say, right? But the Chiefs have been able to stay fairly healthy, and I think that starts with Pat, man. Like when you got a quarterback that's tough, that's telling the head coach, no, I'm not coming out the game. Like those type of things, resonates with the entire team, and, that's been fun to watch too, just that team's toughness. I think at first people thought, I'm sorry, but at first I thought people thought that there was a lot of finesse. And I'm like, nah, bro, like the Chiefs are a physical team. Like they're tough because that's the way they practice. That's the way they train.
I was going to say, how much of that, like, inside the building? Because, like, I've heard stories of, like, Patrick Mahomes checking in on the training room, and then if someone's not available, like, I'll win without him. Like, I'll win with it. Whoever's there, I'll play. Inside the building, he's like that, right? Like, I'll play under any condition.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I think that's what kind of sets him apart. Like he's not excuse driven, right? Like he's goal oriented, right? Like what does it take to get to the goals? And the goals aren't always 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, and 500 yards on the ground. That's not always the goal. The goal is to get your team in a position where you can win the game, and he's been outstanding, in that factor. And yeah, man, like it's so hard, right? Like we played KC earlier this year, and man, I was trying to study these dudes all week, and I'm like, I think they call a different play every play, even though it looks the same, right? Like, and man, I just remember that week, man, just working that week and trying to study them, man. I just couldn't figure it out, like at all, So, yeah, man, they do a great job of mixing things up and going from game plan to game plan. Whereas most teams, they'll show you the same thing for 4 weeks until somebody stops it, right? And for the Chiefs, man, like they're giving you different looks. They're putting people in different spots. And I think it's affecting the way, guys on defense able to process that information and anticipate a play,
We're talking to Tyrann Mathieu here on 96.5 The Fan. You and the Saints played the Eagles earlier in the year, so I wanted to get your perspective real quick on that because Saquon, we all know how special a player he is. What's it like trying to stop, or I guess not you're really stopping him, but limit him? What do the Chiefs have to do to maybe avoid the big 60-plus yard run?
Yeah, man, with Saquon, you have to play a full quarter game with him. For instance, when we played them, I think they beat us maybe 15-12, 15-13. It was a tight game. But we kind of had him in check pretty much the whole game. And then it got to the fourth quarter, and he was the only one with juice, right? And so they started to feed him, and I think he popped off like a 70-yarder, 65-yarder. That was really the dagger, against us, right? But I think you just have to do a great job, man, of playing three-level defense because Saquon is so exclusive. And by the time he gets to the second level, nobody's touched him, and, he still has that burst. He still has that long speed, and he can make 3 or 4 guys miss, in a box, So if they can just keep him under wraps, man, I think they'll have a great chance to win because Saquon is actually my X factor in the game, right? Like, I think if he plays extremely well, he'll give the Eagles a chance because him playing well goes into, I think, the overall game plan, which is how do we keep Patrick on the sideline? How do we keep him on the sideline and not involved in the game? So I think Saquon has to play, a big game, big role in this game. And with that, it'll help Jalen Hurts with cleaner looks on the back end, right? And, giving him those one-on-one shots with A.J. Brown, which, he's one of the best receivers, in that department.
In terms of trying to take down Saquon, like Derrick Henry, my guess is at the top of the list of a guy you just don't want running full steam ahead at you, Tyrann. You tell me if I'm wrong on that, but like, is Saquon number 2, or who's the guy you're just like, man, this is not who you want to be dealing with one-on-one?
Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'd rather Derrick Henry.
Okay.
Because at least I know I can get in front of him.
Fair.
Now, he might run over me, right? But I know I can get in front of him. Now, Saquon, when Saquon's running at you, you thinking, man, is he going left? Is he going right? Is he gonna jump over me? Right? Is he gonna spin out of me? Is he gonna do his famous spin? So it's like as he's running at you and he got a 2-way go, your mind is racing because you've seen him do, so many different things in these situations. You know what I mean? But as far as Derrick Henry, it's like, man, let me just get in front of him and buy time for the rest of the guys to catch up, right? But Saquon, it's like, man, you hoping that 2 people are there. It's not just you.
When you look at the other spot, because I was looking back to your game because I figured you'd have good insight for what it's like to try to guard them. Dallas Goedert had a nice game against you guys, 10 for 170. The Chiefs haven't been great against tight ends. What about their offense makes tight ends tough to guard, or what do they need to do against Dallas Goedert?
So the thing that kind of hurt us with Dallas was Dallas is great at the catch and run, right? And you look at him, right? You see his body on tape, and you're like, man, he's 6'7", right? He's 250. I'm pretty sure he's like a down the field threat, right? Possession receiver threat, right? Not at all. Like we were so surprised when they was throwing the ball at him, 2-3 yards, and he turned up the field getting 15, 20. Right, so I think the Chiefs just have to know what they're dealing with. Yeah, he's a big guy. He's a possession guy. He can run seams. He can run bang routes. He can run those type of things. But I think his game, what separates him and what makes him a really good player and a tight end is, I think his effort, when he's blocking. And then, two, I think his run-catch ability after the catch, I think it's so underrated. I think he's probably like, top 3 tight end, as far as I think he's like behind Kittle and Kelsey and the kid that's in Miami, Jonnu Smith. Like he's in that group with guys that can catch a 2-yard ball and take it 40. So just don't be surprised, when they're throwing these checkdowns to him, because they believe in him, making a guy miss, and he's big. So it takes a couple guys to bring him down.
Who do you think that the Eagles will try to slow down? Like we talk all the time, like I don't think anyone typically has the personnel for Kelsey, but like right now it's kind of a tough question. Worthy's been their number 1 wide receiver. Forgetting about Travis Kelsey can burn you. And then they still have guys like Hollywood Brown and DeAndre Hopkins and other guys after. If you thought your team was going into it defensively, who would you try to slow down first for Kansas City?
Man, it's almost impossible. I've only seen it happen one time, in a Super Bowl that, we played in. In Tampa that year, right? But you got to try to find a way to impact Mahomes, man. Like, if you can't get him flustered, if you can't get him rattled, like, if you can't get him just out of character, right? Like, man, it's going to be a long day. Like, you have to try to find a way to affect him, which is hard to do because the Chiefs have, like, 4 All-Pros on their offensive line, right? Like, it's like the interior of their offense is built for Patrick, right? And most teams, they try to attack that area of the field, right? That 2-3 yards behind the center, that's like the dead zone, right? That's where you want the quarterback at because guys like Chris Jones, Aaron Donalds of the world, they can get to him, right? They're 2 yards away, they could get to him and they could impact him. And I think just with like the meat that the Chiefs have in the middle of their line, it makes it hard, man, to put pressure on him. It makes it hard to rattle him,
So you go into the game or you watch that thing at home, and how do you see it playing out?
Oh, man. I'll be at the game for like the first half. Both of my sons, they're actually going to the game. Obviously they're huge Chiefs fans.
Yeah.
So they'll go to the game. I'll probably just be kind of like in the city, doing appearances and whatnot. But for me, man, I believe in the Chiefs. I cannot bet against Mahomes. Can't bet against Spaz, Coach Reed, even Tobes, man. Like you don't think Butler's ready? Like you don't think they're gonna pop off like a 40-50 yard return? Like these things are gonna happen, right? So now I'm just looking forward to it. I'm hoping that it's a great game, but obviously, man, if Patrick had that ball last, man, it's time to start playing the band.
Play him out,
yeah, it's time to start playing the band, man. Like somebody's about to go home.
Just keep the lights on there, Tyrann. I mean, the last time there was a Super Bowl in New Orleans, man, got to keep the lights on.
You got to keep the lights on, absolutely. Which I think the city has been. Everybody has kind of taken this thing serious. Obviously a month ago, we had that tragedy. Down there, in the first quarters on Bourbon Street. And I think it raised a lot of people's, awareness and attendance and, even from security, right, to the people that's, taking care of the little things, right, the mics in the stadium and the lights and the sound and all these different things that make the Super Bowl experience great. I think across the board, man, everybody's excited. Everybody's taking it personal. And everybody wants to leave a good look. I think everybody wants to do well so that, the New Orleans is in position to get another Super Bowl. So I think it'll go. I think it'll run smoothly. I think it'll be perfect. Yeah, man. I think it'll be all right.
Tyrann, great to hear from you, man. Appreciate you giving us some time. Appreciate hosting Chiefs fans, I guess, in New Orleans as well all week long, and we'll have to catch up down the road.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
There you go. That's Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, joining us here on 96.5 The Fan. Of course, Super Bowl champion with the Chiefs, 3-time All-Pro. He's now a safety with the New Orleans Saints, and you guys remember from his time here how passionate he is about Louisiana and New Orleans and everything that's going on down there, and it's a huge week for that city.
Got to play 2 Super Bowls here in Kansas City. Obviously lost the Bucs one that he mentioned, but he's got it right. He's like, look, if Patrick Mahomes got the ball last, play the band like it's over. Like, just go ahead and play the wrap-up music. This thing's done. Because he was around a young Patrick Mahomes. Like, I'm just kind of figuring out the league, like 50 touchdowns, 5,000 yards. But, like, you didn't even, like, I know then you knew he was great. But even that, Gold, even when he was doing that, you weren't sure it was ending this way. That he'd be in his 3rd straight Super Bowl for a chance to win 3 in a row, for a chance to get to 4. But his point on Tobe and Spags and everyone else being here forever, I mean, those things matter.
All our guests brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Kansas City geared up for their 3rd straight title, and Academy Sports and Outdoors has everything you need to rep your team during their historic run. Yeah, Cody, the other part of that, too, is when he first came, and we all remember, he was brought in along with Frank Clark and that whole defense when Spags came. That was the revamped defense, kind of changed. If you think that really changed everything, all the attention will be on Mahomes and Andy, but this dynasty doesn't happen without them flipping over that defensive roster. There were so many names that were out, so many names that were in, and Tyrann Mathieu at the time was one of the leaders that they relied on during their run. And it's pretty cool to see, honestly, how well he's still playing at this point. I remember, let's be fair, the conversation at the time when the Chiefs decided to move on, a lot of people were wondering, okay, what kind of level of play is he playing? He's actually been playing really well down in New Orleans still for the Saints. But
I don't think they would have seen any drop-off had they gone Reed. They didn't see drop-off by going with Reed. But, yeah, I mean, it's just they've had to flip the defense twice now, which is what has kind of been their specialty. That first run was all the guys he said he still stayed in contact with. Hitchens, Frank Clark. Chris Jones has obviously continued to be there. It was Charvarius Ward and him and Dan Sorensen and all these other guys. And now it's a completely different secondary and linebacker crew and mostly defensive line than the one he played with. But if you're able to turn – but what stayed? Like, what's the difference? Like, I can't blame him for saying the most underrated part of this entire dynasty is that Steve Spagnuolo is a part of it. Every other team gets robbed. That's how it's supposed to work in the middle of a three-peat run. You're supposed to lose offensive coordinators, lose defensive coordinators, lose special teams coordinators. I'll point out, by the way, that Dave Tobe also has had head coaching interviews in his time in Kansas City, or he could have been plucked to do a bigger job or that same job with a different team for more money or a million other things. Their coaching staff turnover has been so low. Same offensive line coach, sometimes the defensive, like some guys leave, right? We get like Cullen left, right? I mean, it happens, but like the level is still so low. And yeah, Spags, I mean, it's just hard to ignore Spags being kind of a game changer.
He's out here talking to Veets saying, please stop
taking all the good
Stop
corners.
taking these DBs, man.
Hey, well, Trim McDuffie, obviously, the biggest of the bunch there.
Who's found Watson and
stop taking Watson and Snead, please, you know?
Yeah, no, it's been really, really impressive, the run that they've been able to go on, obviously, and Tyrann Mathieu among many players that have shuffled in and out of the organization during the run as well. But it all started in 2019 in Miami when the Chiefs were able to get the first ring against the 49ers. Appreciate Tyrann Mathieu for joining us here on 96.5 The Fan. So Jalen Hurts, where he's at and how we talk about him, of course, can change forever with a ring. A ring changes everybody's careers. Yeah. But I think it's interesting because in the AFC, we always are trying to figure out how many rings is Burrow and Lamar and Allen going to get. And we all know the big obstacle is Patrick Mahomes to that. We really don't have that on the NFC side, but Jalen Hurts, I think, is worthy of being in that conversation from the ring talk because he's gone to 2. Burrow went to 1. Allen hasn't been to any. Lamar hasn't been to any.
He has more appearances than those 3 guys combined.
Yeah.
And we don't talk about it that way. And look, I understand. Like, that would be, saying that sentence alone is like Elliott Shore Parts. I'm providing you no context. If I just say that Jalen Hurts has been to twice as many Super Bowls as Burrow, Allen, and Lamar combined, I should probably point out that those 3 guys are having to get past this generation's truly great quarterback and probably one of the three. He'll go down as one of the two best quarterbacks of all time. But yeah, Hurts keeps getting there. I refuse to ignore that just because I'm unsure. Because if you look at his career stats, Hurts' numbers are consistent. He's a dynamic runner. He scores touchdowns. Their offense consistently ranks near the top 5. Up until last year, if they hadn't fallen apart last year, had they just gone to the playoffs and lost in an NFC title game like a normal team, we would look at him and that team differently. But because they melted down, it feels so different. Now, Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback. The real question you always have to ask yourself is, what's the drop-off between him and Mahomes? Because, yeah, Jalen Hurts has a better chance to win a Super Bowl than any of those three. One, because he has a chance on Sunday to do it, but also because he's going to be on the NFC side. Who are the challengers? The challengers are a rookie in Jaden Daniels. I'd like to see year 2. And before I just determine
Goff, but we just don't know what it'll be like without Ben Johnson at this point.
But Goff, I mean, it's not murderer's row on the NFC side, and his team has one of the best GMs.
There's more questions in the NFC as to who's next.
And credit the Eagles, they're taking advantage of this time in the NFC where there's not a clear front runner.
Yeah, I agree.
In fact, it's been the Niners and Eagles, of course, and the Chiefs have ran into both of them. We all know that. But just you're taking advantage of the time where there's not, and maybe Jalen Hurts will end up being that guy, where there's a guy that you have to get through every single year that doesn't exist yet. There's been Brock Purdy one year, and obviously Stafford another, Jalen Hurts a couple of these. On the NFC or on the AFC side, it's been Mahomes, and then 1 year Burrow beat Mahomes, and that has been it. I mean, Tom Brady obviously has been retired for a couple of years on the NFC side, so. Jalen Hurts, they have a chance to say, no, we're the team you have to go through. That's what's on the line. But I do think he should have a little more respect in the convo when we talk about these AFC quarterbacks. Not that I think he's better than Josh Allen. No, I do not think that's the case.
I don't think he's better than any of the three guys I just mentioned. But he might be just as good as Burrow.
But ring-wise, I mean, we know the story in the NFL. There's guys like Joe Flacco that have a ring. Nobody thinks Joe Flacco is better than Dan Marino, who doesn't have one. I mean, there's outliers that find a way.
Brad Johnson, Trent Dilfer. And we always list the same. Had Jimmy G won one, we'd probably just lump him into the same category, but Brady and Mahomes have been holding some of those guys down. Nick Foles, for instance, is probably another one that we should add to that list. There will always be quarterbacks who get through, because the way I look at this is always the same way. If you say this year included, the next 10 years of Super Bowl champions, Mahomes is going to, at least, if this is one of the 10, probably, even if he reduces his rate, Gold, 4. So there's only 6 Super Bowl appearances left for the NFC and the AFC side. Well, I mean, Hurts getting to 2 is not crazy. He's in one now. Just ask him to get to 1 more in the next 9 years, and they are the preeminent franchise of this is how you run a franchise in the NFC side. Now, they have not been hurt by the Jalen Hurts is making a mountain of money and we actually feel it from a cap perspective
is
yet.
Interesting.
Because Howie Roseman's hitting home runs in the draft and getting fortunate.
Until Jalen Hurts, and not fortunate if you're the guy who keeps doing it, but
Well, I'm talking about in terms of guys falling. Jalen Carter, if he didn't have the situation at Georgia driving the car, he's not even there.
But his big money.
But anybody could have taken him. It's still crazy. It's not like he went 42nd because of that.
Correct. But his big money, to your point, he's
hadn't kicked in yet.
Cap hit this year for Jalen Hurts, 21.7. Next year, goes up $10 million. Still, in today's day and age, $31 million is not.
Mahomes is going to make $55 next year.
Mahomes has made over, I think, 40 cap hit for 2 or 3 years in a row now, since 2022. So, and then it'll finally get to $41 million.
That's a big number.
In 2027. And then at that point, you wonder, there's void years. So at that point, he probably gets a new deal anyway. If Jalen Hurts wins a ring this year, there's probably a conversation to be had in another year where he'll try to get an extension done then. So they're taking advantage of an NFC that doesn't have a dude blocking them. And they're taking advantage of, while it's not a rookie contract, it's a favorable contract. I think that's a fair way to put it right now. And you got to eventually, though, you feel like you got to get a ring. But for Jalen Hurts, he's running to Mahomes both times. And so while it's not happening in the AFC title game, it's happening in the Super Bowl. There's a chance he's going to be just like the other guys as well, where it's, hey, you got there twice, but you ran into Mahomes. We would have got there if we could have done the same thing if we were in the NFC.
If you're Matt Stafford, you just got to be like, thank God I got to the Super Bowl and it wasn't Mahomes that year. What a sweet spot, right? Because the time he got there, he didn't do it. And the time Tom Brady got there against Mahomes, he had no offensive line. And look, listen to Tyrann. He's like, the only time I can remember us not having it offensively was that Super Bowl. But
that was the game where, remember, right before half, he's John with Brady and that whole thing.
He was running. I'm not going to go back and watch all 4 hours of that game.
Oh, I don't need to watch the Bucs Super Bowl ever again. I'm good, man. I got plenty of other Super Bowls with great memories. I don't need to watch the Bucs.
I don't hate myself enough, but I have watched highlights of that game. He was running for his life in that game. So, yeah, I would say.
How many times was he sacked in that Super Bowl?
I don't know. He ran for 500 yards.
Yeah, that was,
was
somebody
the
tracked
joke,
that.
like 513 yards or whatever.
Throwing sideways horizontal. I did think, but as soon as you opened the topic, Cody, I thought you were going to say something. I know we talked about bad tweets yesterday. I thought you were going to say that Jalen Hurts is better than Burrow, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson simply because he has been to more Super Bowls.
That's just the folks in Philly, or one individual in Philly.
He backed that up. He went.
Elliott Shore Park. So he'll be on with CDOT tomorrow. Our big game coverage on 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by Community America Credit Union. Member-owned, open to all, invested in you. Join today at communityamerica.com. Up next, Chiefs Red Half Hour. You did hear Tyrann mention Harrison Butker's name. Let's talk about the confidence level. Yeah, even in the kicking game, there's some bets also that we want to discuss. One fun one more serious bet. And we'll also get back into what Mahomes has done against number one pass defense. It's pretty remarkable. That's next on 96.5 The Fan.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold once again, telling you about our friends over at Centric, and we've all been dealing with this brutal weather in Kansas City. Maybe you work outside, and look, you've just had enough. Well, you can start a brand new career with our friends over at Centric, because they allow you to advance your career on your time with their flexible schedule.
Classes start in February. You get to choose your curriculum, go with that new career path, and stop worrying about what the weather will do for you. Call our guy, Russ Mondry. He's been with Centric for 16 years and will be with you to guide you every step of the way. Go to Centric.com now.
Rally House.
Shop every team in town.
College
and pro.
Come on, it's time to go.
We're New Orleans bound, KC. Shop the largest selection of Chiefs, AFC champions, and Super Bowl gear at Rally House. New postseason styles arriving daily.
Kansas, Missouri, Kansas State. Chiefs and Royals make KC great. Rally House.
Rally House.
It's your city, it's your house. It's the Rally House.
Limited quantity. Selection varies by location. Shop rallyhouse.com.
At Jefferson's, our favorite day is game day, especially on Kansas City game day. We know our guys in red like to play down to the wire, and we're here for every second of it. Our ice-cold beers pair perfectly with a blocked field goal. Our double-dip wings taste even crispier when KC makes yet another game-changing play. It just tastes better when you're watching at a bar that's owned and operated locally. Join us on game day and every day at Jefferson's, 87th Street in Lackman in Lenexa and North Kansas City on Armour Road. Jefferson's, wings, burgers, oysters. For over 87 years, GEHA, Government Employees Health Association, has offered health and dental benefits designed to meet the unique needs of federal employees and retirees, military retirees, and their families. With over 2 million members and growing, GEHA continues to serve those members and families who serve us all every day. At GEHA, your health is not our business, it's our purpose. GEHA, proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Learn more at GEHA.com.
Men, this is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And you've heard me talk a lot about how treating low testosterone can improve your sleep, your workouts, your energy levels, and more. But today I want to talk to you about your sex drive, because low testosterone can have a significant impact on your desire for intimacy. It can even be a factor in erectile dysfunction. And if you're in a relationship or wanting to be in a relationship, a low sex drive could really be a problem. The good news is that if you're like most guys, treating your low testosterone could really change the way you feel about sex, giving you back the flame and desire that is so important when you love someone. So if you're feeling sluggish and tired, if you're not sleeping well, if your workouts aren't that great, and most of all, if your sex drive is more like a putt, make an appointment at Heartland Men's Health and have your testosterone levels checked. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices, Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
This ain't the little itty-bitty teeny tiny bowl. This is Super Bowl 59. Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 59. Scoring touchdowns is key to hoisting the Lombardi Trophy, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Ready to play
place your first bet? Try betting on something simple, like a player to score 6. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code 965. That's code 965 for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Kansas only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort.
Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 16, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Old Spice Swagger Body Wash will make you the MVP of freshness and confidence. With its irresistible scent, it will transform your shower experience, leaving you feeling fresh on and off the field. Pair it with Old Spice Swagger Deodorant, the #1 aluminum-free brand that keeps you feeling like a Super Bowl champion 24/7 when used daily. But don't wait. This dynamic duo is available at Costco for a limited time only. Old Spice, official deodorant partner of the NFL and Super Bowl 59, where freshness meets football greatness.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free.
I went hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins.
Join the millions of people who are celebrating going hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins. Footwear you just step into and they're on.
It's crazy how something as simple as a pair of shoes have made my life better.
After trying Skechers Slip-ins, I want all my shoes to have this technology. See what every
And it feels like the last level of a video game, facing off against the final boss who stands between you and your refund.
All your refund has belonged to me.
Using the power of TaxSlayer like a secret power-up he doesn't see coming.
Only the most tax-confident can defeat me.
Throwing your laptop at his video game face and watching him crumble into a giant pile of shiny coin tax refunds.
Oh, not fair. You use TaxSlayer.
Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Chiefs coverage sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back.
I was coined almost Andy Reid when I was on a radio show, and it's stuck with me ever since. Renner Garage Door can help you not get stuck out in the cold this winter. Book your annual maintenance or get a free replacement quote today.
RENNER, RENNER.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
It is the Chiefs Red Half Hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. A couple of you on the text line asking where you can catch the Tyrann Mathieu interview. That'll be podcasted here shortly. Also,
it's up there now.
There you go.
Wow, Drew was on top of it.
Listen after the show, please. Listen after the show, please. Thank you. Also, it'll re-air during the show, around 1:30. You'll hear Tyrann Mathieu, a Honey Badger, who's now with the New Orleans Saints. Of course, won the first Super Bowl with the Chiefs when this thing all began. And it was
you try
awesome
not
to
to discourage people from leaving.
That's typically how it goes. I would like them to listen to our show.
You like them to listen right
Yes.
now, like this second. By the way, I did see a business has taken on the threesome name. As you know, on this show, somebody had pointed out that their dad was mispronouncing three-peat as threesome. Mm-hmm. We really liked that idea. Plus, no trademarks, so problem solved. I got an email, and I'm assuming this was sent to me just because of this show, that said, Torchy's Tacos giving free threesomes for KC fans through Sunday.
Hey, okay.
They're offering like a taco deal
to
go with it, but they're calling it a free threesome. Typically, those aren't free.
Think about that. The city's just, this place is just handing out free threesomes.
That's how good our city has become.
I mean.
And so, yeah, Yeah, check out those details. I think I spent like $5 or something, but either way, pretty fun that other people are. I'm encouraging everyone to probably go that way. I don't care what your local business is. Partner up with us. Let's all get together on board.
Citywide
the Chiefs are
threesomes.
Going for the threesome, you know?
Yeah. Citywide
threesomes. Threesomes for everyone.
In just a bit, we'll get back into how Mahomes has handled number one defenses, particularly in the playoffs, and the numbers are just absurd. You heard Tyrann mention Harrison Butker, and he's like, "I'm not betting against Mahomes." He's like, "You think Butker's not making a big kick?"
I did notice that.
Harrison Butker in Super Bowls, 9 of 10, 10 for 10 on extra points. Overall, it equates to 37 points that they've scored in 4 Super Bowl games, or 4 games in the Super Bowl. He's accounted for. Last year, he was, we all know, 4 for 4. He was sensational. People thought maybe he was going to win the MVP until it went to overtime. Yeah. And the last time he played the Eagles, if you're just wondering, he was one. That was the one miss was against the Eagles. But he also ended up kicking what ended up being the game-winning field goal in that Super Bowl. So who cares?
I don't care.
Where are you at on confidence for him? If anything, the shakier kicker is actually Jake Elliott this year.
And that's been the case in almost every Super Bowl. I know that I should just be like, it's good. So I was unclear going into the playoffs, and he has not had to an attempt to kick that I have to question. So, like, what I don't know still is, can he make it from 50? So do I have confidence that Harrison Butker is better than he probably was a couple of weeks ago? Yes. I was more worried about that in the early playoff games because I thought they rushed him back. He didn't look good towards the end of the regular season. It seemed like he had no distance. In warm-ups in the AFC Championship game, they said he was making them from 60. This is indoor, ideal conditions. Nothing can go wrong with a kick kind of situations as far as just like you booting it. So I feel better about that. I'll say I'm still like 85%. I would like to see him make one of those. It's 55 yards out on 4th and 8, and he just bangs one through for 3 and just be like, oh, okay. Cool, we're good. Don't have to find that out in the last second of the game. Because what I don't want to do, Gold, is it's 53 seconds, to go, and they need this to take the lead, and it's 55 yards out,
Yeah, before the half, end of game, got to have it. You're willing to extend the range out to 58 yards. I'm with you. It's just a different feeling. I also think what we just discussed after the Bills game, Andy Reid is more aggressive in the postseason. So he is just going to be more willing to go for a 4th down than the long field goal. But it's been, how far removed are we? Even if we thought they rushed Butker back, and I agree with you, I think they did. Now it's been another month on top of that. So like Mike,
but he didn't have his distance like even as early as like the first playoff game.
But it's indoors, as we know, 90.
That's I'm like 85%.
Yeah, most of these. I don't think they will attempt a 58-yarder unless it's right before half or it's, hey, there's 3 seconds on the clock to win the Super Bowl. And it's like, hey, we got a better chance of making a 58-yarder than a Hail Mary. But if it's the first quarter and their drive stalls out and it would be a 58-yard field goal or it's 4th and 2, even on the first drive, I think they would go for it. That's the difference versus regular season compared to the playoffs compared to the Super Bowl. Heck, we all know Andy was willing to go for it from his own side of the field against Buffalo, and that was a big momentum swing in the game.
But I felt like that kicked up late in the season when they knew he couldn't kick 56 anymore. Like they went for more 4ths in a spot where I know for a fact in years past it would just be Harrison Butker kicking it. Part of me is just going to think like he's never going to be 100% the rest of the way like we talk about other players, not normally kickers, because he had in-season knee surgery. So that's why I don't know that I'll ever feel like he's 100% normal level of my comfort of Harrison Butker, which is he's the best kicker in the game, right? Okay, so 100%. He's going to make 98% of everything he throws up there from a kicking end, and I don't have to worry about it. I don't think I'll be that way at any point this season just because of in-season knee surgery. And I'm not going to get a chance to – I didn't get a chance to see it before the playoffs. Had he hit a 58-yarder in the last game, well, then we're good. Or several 55-yarders were good. He wasn't really tested in the postseason. He had to make kicks, but they were all of, reasonable distance, I guess.
I think the fact, though, that – he's only had 1 miss in 4 Super Bowls, though, in terms of clutch and all that. You're just talking about from a health thing. In terms of clutch and the pressure moments, I'm not concerned whatsoever. The kicker that has failed in some of those moments more is definitely Jake Elliott. It's Jake Elliott's playoff stats as a kicker for the Eagles. He's 20. I think he's played 17 games. I was trying to find his numbers. He hasn't been terrible either in the postseason. It's the extra points. That's what it was. It was something he missed. He's actually made all his field goals, but he's missed multiple extra points as Jake Elliott. He's 22 for 22 in field goals, 25 for 30 on extra points. So that would be the area to watch for Jake Elliott.
Well, that's been the area to watch for the Chiefs defense all season long. I don't know what it is about. Like, this is like one of those small things that we won't spend a lot of time of in the build-up to the game. We'll talk about Jalen Carter versus Trey Smith, Chris Jones versus Cam Jerkins, wide receivers versus quarter versus, all of that. We know after the game, like 5 times this year, we have spent time being like, the Chiefs are screwing up everyone else's kicking game. They are blocking kicks. They are forcing missed extra points. They are causing problems in the special teams department for a lot of NFL teams. And so that does kind of stand out to me. That has been consistently the case, that they have been able to screw these things up. But like that also in previous years gone hand in hand with they don't miss. They don't screw up things in the, they make those. Nico Remigio, for instance, special teams was a factor in the last game, right? They always just seem like they're better on that side of the ball, too.
913-586-7965. That's the Jays Southland Tow Service text line. Someone says, my girlfriend just made me turn the show off. She said she does not know how a threesome is sports related.
It is.
It is. The Chiefs are going for one. That's why. That's why it's sports related. So just tell her it's all right. This says the Chiefs are trying to do something that's never been done before. Ask her, does she think it's been done before?
Mm-hmm. It hasn't, by the way. Not in this setting. And so that's what's important. The Chiefs trying to complete something that just, it just doesn't happen. It happens in sports sometimes, but it's never happened in football. Never in the NFL, Has anyone won like a college championship 3 times in a row? Like back in the gold. It's probably like in the previous days.
Well, basketball, UConn.
No,
women.
I meant like NFL or college football. Like college football.
Georgia's gone back-to-back, right? But that's it. In Alabama, I don't think they won.
Probably somebody in those days when they were offering up like 78 trophies. Like I'm sure there's some like Penn State did it in 1906. Or
UCLA, obviously basketball. UCLA basketball.
Yeah, they did.
But I know you're asking football, but basketball's happened.
I think you would be able to guess. You would be able to guess the teams that have been able to three-peat.
And it's all like in the 30s, right?
Oh yeah.
It's not modern.
There are only 2 teams to win.
1930s.
I was going to say there's only 2 teams to win.
And 2 of them did it at the same time because college football is stupid. Probably.
They used to not have championships. They used to just give co-championships because of the SEC differences and the North and the South, essentially. Yale is a 3-peat champion.
Wow.
Army did it as well.
In Minnesota. To Gold's point as well. Here it is in Minnesota.
Dead serious. Did 2 of them do it at the same time?
I believe
is there a crossover? Yeah, see, that's dumb. 2 different, you played in the same year. You can't both be through.
Well,
this is why the threesome matters more now.
So there's
modern threesome.
So there's only 2 teams that have undisputed three-peats. Yale and Minnesota, the only 2 to have undisputed ones. Other ones, like Princeton, was a co-champion.
Okay.
Included, they've claimed 3 consecutive titles, but they haven't been undisputed titles.
This is what are those trophies that
sounds like UCF trying to claim the 2017 or the 2017 national title.
What are those old trophies that people always claim championships for? It doesn't matter. College football just kind of operates a little bit in college basketball because they didn't have a unified system of travel.
But yeah, you got to go back to the 1800s and.
I care about modern era. Modern era threesomes
1900s.
only. That's the only thing I care about on this show. Not the past.
Well, even now, technically, there's NFL. There has been a 3-peat, but not in the Super Bowl era.
Right,
I mean, there's a complete difference in terms of those eras.
A little bit different.
Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs against number 1 defenses. This will be another one of them. He's going to face on Sunday in New Orleans. And there's only been a handful of quarterbacks that have, of course, played enough playoff games to be in this spot. But among all quarterbacks with 2 or more playoff starts against number 1 pass defenses since 1950, Patrick Mahomes is first in points per game. He averages 37 points per game against these top defenses. He's 3-0, which is the best record against the number 1 pass defense. He's got the number 1 completion percentage, 70.8. He's got the most touchdown ratio, game ratio in that stretch, 2.7. And he has the highest passer rating, 108.5. So think about all the quarterbacks that have played 2 or more playoff games against top defenses. Yes, that includes Tom Brady as well, and he's not first on this list. That's crazy that we all know he just elevates his game against the best. He plays better against better competition.
Yeah, he is better in the playoffs than he is as a regular season quarterback. 17-3, 5,500 yards, 43-8 interception to touchdown ratio. That does not include the 5 rushing touchdowns and nearly 600 yards, Gold, he has in the playoffs, and that includes the kneel downs. Somebody actually did the math. If he didn't kneel down, he'd be closer to 7. He's knelt down in wins so often in the playoffs. He's actually cost himself like 100 rushing yards by simply walking back a couple of steps and putting his knee to the ground. Those stats against number 1 defenses point out to me that I'm not going to let that be a part of the conversation, because at no point in his career, and I'm sure you've been on in Philly or other markets, and they'll be like, what about that vaunted Eagles pass defense? And all I got to say is, that's never been the reason why. Typically in these Super Bowls, whether he gets it late or he gets it early, because sometimes it is in the fourth quarter. Sometimes it is in the 49ers in the first Super Bowl. They didn't have some gob amount of points going into the fourth quarter until they ran jet, chip, wasp, and then they just kept scoring. They scored, remember, 3 times in like 5 minutes in that game. You have to get into the high 20s if you were going to beat Kansas City in a Super Bowl. You can walk in with your number 1 rated pass defense or your number 1 rated defense or your top 5 defense or anything else the Bills have run into in the playoffs or all these other teams. If you don't get into the high 20s, it doesn't matter. He's going to score a certain number of points against you. Is the way I view this. I don't know. What's the over-under in this game? I guess I haven't looked at that.
Depending on the book, 48.5. Well, yeah.
Okay, so right around where it was in the AFC title game.
It's weird how it's actually gone now. We'll talk about it tonight. That betting show will be live from 6 to 7. We'll do all things betting. But yeah, the line, I thought there was a chance it would go up from last week. It hasn't. It's stabilized or gone down, as a matter of fact. Thinking of that, you want to go through a couple of these fun novelty props.
Fun prop bet.
Look, there's no other sporting event that's bet on more. I think I saw the latest estimate. They think it was $1.3 billion legally will be wagered, which will be a record. More and more states are legalized, so it's probably not surprising that number keeps going up. Even your, I'll just use it. Even your mom that normally doesn't bet is betting. You know what I mean? Like that's what's happening for the Super Bowl.
Did you see the brief conspiracy that was because people think that the Mavericks are shedding Luka Doncic and the payroll because what actually happened is the family who bought him, they're a Vegas family based on the casino thing. They have been advertising hard to try to get Texas, a huge state, to legalize sports wagering. They now have to wait a couple more years because it didn't pass again, and that they actually just want to take the Mavericks to Vegas now because they want to build an arena and a casino
the state of Texas
all next to each other. So the current working theory is that they're trying to tank. It's a major league situation. They're trying to tank their team's value and then just move them to Vegas.
I don't buy that. Now, as far as the family wanting to build a casino and legalize sports wagering in Texas, that's true. There's a lot of lobbyists in Louisiana, where the Super Bowl's at, that actually spend millions of dollars a year to lobby in the state of Texas to prevent.
Well, yeah, because they want you driving over.
Yeah, if you live in Houston, you can drive 2.5 hours to Lake Charles, Louisiana. Trust me, I did it. So like people do that
frequently.
Yes. No, me? Oh no, I didn't do it frequently, but people do. Yes, it's a real thing, and all the advertisements are. Yeah, I mean the owner of the Rockets owns his Golden Nugget in Lake Charles, and he owns a bunch of things, but that's one of the things he owns.
So that's a current working theory.
Interesting. All right, let's go through a couple of these. These are more the novelty ones. Remember, some of these you can bet in Kansas, some of you cannot. Also, this will be the last Super Bowl that Missouri residents will not be able to legally bet from their couch. Think about that. This is the last one. This is the last one. All right, Kendrick Lamar, over under 10.5 songs during the halftime. Minus 105 for the over. Under is minus 125. So for those that don't know, it's saying the under right now has more money coming in on that. This is different than what's the first song going to be, which we discussed the other day.
Oh, man.
10.5 songs and not minutes.
But that's typically what people get through. They like to get through a decent part of their catalog.
They also always don't do the full song.
And it counts if you do like the 10-second part of your song that's transitioning into the next song,
I think he'll do
if he just does like the opening part to Humble for 10 seconds to get to the next song, that counts.
Those would be quicker. I think he's going to do all of Not Like Us. I think he's going to do the entire, since he has SZA up there with him, he's going to do the entire, so that he's going to do 2 full songs.
You think he's only doing 2 full songs?
I think he does 2 full songs.
But this doesn't have to be full, though.
Yeah, again, if he says, this is just any part of any
song. He obviously doesn't have enough time to sing 10.5 songs or 11 songs.
How long is the act? Like 15 minutes?
Remember, it's a longer halftime, so probably 15, 20 minutes max. But he doesn't have to sing 3.5 minutes of a song for it to count. This is only available in Canada anyway, ironically enough. That's pretty funny. That you can only bet on the Kendrick Lamar halftime
Somebody
song
says,
in
does repeating a song count?
No. I don't think it can.
I don't believe so.
Like if he opens with Not Like Us, he's just like dancing on the playground, and then he dances on Drake's grave at the end again.
Jeez.
That's what he did. Don't you remember on that one live show when that song first came out? He did a concert in L.A., and he did it like 4 times, man. So, I don't know if he doesn't count. You know what? I'm going to say under for that reason. I actually think Not Like Us gets more than one.
He thinks he does
run
it 2
in
times. Ooh.
All right, some Taylor Swift specials are out there as well on a couple of books. I believe even at BetMGM. Now, this one is just like, will Travis Kelce propose to Taylor Swift after the Super Bowl? It's a real one you can bet on at BetMGM.
Be a pretty good spot.
Yes is 8-1. No is -2,000. He's not proposing.
He's not pulling an Ian Johnson.
Of
There's a
Boise
rumor that
State.
he's already
No way.
proposed.
Well, that too.
People were looking at her gloves on the field
That's
at the end of the
crazy.
AFC Championship game.
gosh.
Like maybe there was a ring. By the way, if she's hiding the ring in another situation, let's say not wearing it to the Grammys, why would she decide to wear it in secret under the glove? I know she's about signs and giving people little nods to look at and all that stuff. I don't know if she's going that deep in the playbook.
I wouldn't bet on this at all. No. And yeah, Drew, I don't think he's pulling a Boise State Ian Johnson Fiesta Bowl again. No, I don't believe that's
That
happening.
was a nice moment for him, though.
Yeah.
It was nice for Ian Johnson.
Yeah,
Just can't do it that way. I think he'll have a private engagement. I believe when you propose to Taylor Swift, you do that in a small group.
It might also be
one-on-one.
If you wanted to
I
do it,
I don't think he's just. Also, I also don't think he's just walking down the street in the plaza and going down on one knee either.
If you wanted to do it in front of a big setting, it would have to be at one of her concerts. That's the only place that I think he would
Cody's
actually
right.
do
It's going to be it's going to be a private moment.
I think so
for
too.
them.
If it was public, do it
why
at a concert.
why have that as a public thing? You know my philosophy on that.
She's a performer,
yeah, but this, I don't get. I've never got the proposal stuff at baseball stadiums as well. Just do it in your own special moment. Now, unless you met there,
the house, it's always in public. Vinny proposed at the park.
Yeah, but public as
A
in
spot
not
that you
with 100. Yeah, my twin sister.
Some people like the baseball game.
Yeah. So if you met there, I think it makes sense. But if you have no tie to the Royal Stadium and you're proposing in front of 30,000 people, why? You're right. If you propose to somebody at the park or whatever, that happens all the time. That's where my twin sister, her husband now, proposed at a park that they've gone to. That's obviously a public place. There's a difference between that and a stadium full of 70,000 people or 50,000 people.
You know what you're doing if you propose in front of 50,000 or
all right, let's keep going through a couple of
yes.
these. What about this one's popular because the Chiefs have used this color in back-to-back years. The color of the Gatorade bath, if they three-peat. Purple is the favorite, plus
I'm waiting for you to tell
225.
me.
Well, yeah, so here's the thing. So real quick, purple is plus 225. Yellow/green/lime, plus 250. Orange is 4-1. Blue is 6.5 to 1, and red/pink is 6.5 to 1. It goes further down, no Gatorade showers, 20 to 1. The last two, the Chiefs have won, purple. And that's been the color. I should know tomorrow, but I will say this.
My gosh.
No, it's true. Should know. But why would they differ from purple? They've done it the prior two in the three-peat year. Why would you not stick to the color that's worked every time?
So I can get even money odds on purple?
Over. Ooh. Plus 250 right now.
Lime.
Now, there's part of me that hopes that I find out
I'm
it's
not talking our favorite flavor. Just
part
the
of
color
I
they
hope
got it
it's red or pink because it's 6.5 to 1.
Those are good odds. I think I would do lime. I don't care
I
for the
kinda
flavor,
lean
but I
towards
think lime.
red because they know it's the three-peat and this is a photo that lives forever. But the other photos live forever too. It's Super Bowl champs.
Gold's gonna get
And
a
they went
page
purple
in. Hey,
that
by the
way.
way, Gold.
Gold's got ears
place
to the
a wager,
ground.
man.
I don't know if
It's,
he goes to see a psychic. I don't know who his source is. I'm just telling you, Gold told us purple last year, and it was purple.
It's been 2 years in a row.
And you are not
two wins in a row.
And you're not guaranteeing anything.
No,
That's not how wagering works.
No.
But Gold has known the color 2 years in a row. He has correctly guessed the color 2 years in a row. Yep. Saw a psychic.
That's the way to phrase it.
Andy Reid told him.
Andy
Reid told him. I don't know who his source is. I'm just telling you.
I'm just saying, though, Mike Florio's trying to ruin it for all of us, all right? You guys, we don't like Mike Florio anyway. Last year after the Super Bowl, he wrote a whole article talking about that market and how it's been infiltrated and all this kind of stuff. He's trying to ruin it for all of us. I'm just saying.
Which market? The Gatorade market?
Yes. The Gatorade prop
He's
market.
resorted to writing stories about the Gatorade.
He wrote up.
My God, dude, you got a much bigger platform than that. We don't need to do Gatorade prop market conspiracy
He did.
theories.
He said,
dear God,
because
man,
look,
seek help.
when it comes to Gatorade color, when it comes to national anthem, those are markets that are easy to access the info. We've all seen what'll happen is later this week. Who's singing the anthem? I know who's halftime. Who's doing the anthem? You guys know? Anyway, find that out, I guess.
I do not know.
Whoever's doing,
don't remember.
I think it's somebody with roots to
Post Malone?
New Orleans. No. I think it's a country act. I could be wrong. I think it's a country act. Anyway, singing the anthem, and there'll be a practice video like last year. Remember, it leaked out, and then they took all the props down.
Oh, John Baptiste.
There you go. Thank you.
Sorry.
There you go.
I did know that.
I think take the over on him.
From the 913.
Take the over on
If
it.
Kelsey wants to propose on a blimp, Cody knows the guy.
Subway.
Dude,
Subway
I'll
blimp.
never. That lady talked about it like she had survived a war war-torn country to get on a blimp. She was like, it's my lifelong dream. Since I was 10 years old, all I've ever thought about is being on a blimp. And I was like, I just responded to an email and thought this would be kind of funny. I was like, oh, God. And they let me on the blimp first and to choose my spot. I felt like such a jerk to that lady. One guy traveled from, like, Connecticut to get on this plane. This guy said he went to, like, 3 different cities to try to get on. I was like, oh, my God, I don't even know.
I remember that. Was that 2 years ago?
Something like that. Yeah.
No, because I
was in the garage sale last year, so it was like a little over a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it was like when I first got here.
Or last summer.
It was cool.
Or whatever.
I mean, I don't know if I'd call it like a lifetime achievement thing for people.
Do you want to go on a blimp again?
If they offered to let me on a blimp again, sure. Will I ever
what if there weren't free
out
sandwiches?
Another blimp trip? No.
It is funny. You were you actually late, or did you show up right as we started?
He walked in like 40 seconds after the show started.
I was like barely late. Now, I will say it took us a little longer to get in the air. Wind conditions and such, I can't,
Right. Yeah, that's
right. The blimp blows around a little bit. They got to make sure that you're like safe. There'll be blimps at the Super Bowl. You know that?
Yeah, exactly. All right. Coming up next, we'll get to what's trending. We'll also talk a little bit more about one play that I think is problematic, but maybe we're more confident because how the Chiefs handled it in the AFC title game. We'll tell you what that is next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Everybody knows Kansas City is going for back-to-back-to-back. Well, that's already happened over at Century Roofing, where they were voted Best of Johnson County for 3 consecutive years, back-to-back-to-back, celebrating 35 years of protecting KC homes. And again, we're voted that for a good reason. It's because they've been doing business in Kansas City for those 30 years and over 30 years, and 30,000 roofs in the greater Kansas City area while celebrating 35 years. You've really got to give them a lot of credit for doing such an incredible job, but that's why you stay in business. People continue to go back to your business when they know you can trust them. Look, the cold weather, again, freezing rain again this morning. So, you start to get a sense of as that stuff melts. Do I hear a drip? Is it leaking? Did those storms earlier cause more damage? I told you, I had them come look at mine because I thought, we might need a new roof. I don't know. It's getting to that age that maybe it's in that range. Here's a couple of repairs. Still looks like it's in good shape. Let's take care of those things for you. They're going to give you an honest assessment. They're going to give you that free estimate so you can get a sense of where your roof health is and so that you can do those things with confidence. When you're going with a roofing company, Century Roofing is the only one you want to go with. Schedule your estimate today from KC-based and female-owned Century Roofing. That's centuryroofingkc.com.
Kansas City is gearing up for their 3rd straight championship title game, and Academy Sports and Outdoors has everything you need to rep your team during their historic run. Swing by your local Academy store today or shop online at academy.com to find officially licensed team gear in game-changing styles, from jerseys and tees to hoodies and hats, all at prices you'll love. Get the best KC gear for the biggest game of the year. Shop Nike, 47 brand, and more Kansas City styles at Academy.
Your skin tells a story. At KMC Dermatology and Med Spa, we understand that stress, time, and life can leave their mark, but it's never too late to refresh, renew, and restore your skin. With 25 expert providers across multiple locations, we make glowing skin easy. Same week appointments? Absolutely. Select Saturday appointments available? You got it. From medical dermatology to advanced aesthetic treatments, we're here to help you look and feel your best. Schedule your appointment today at kmcpa.com. KMC Dermatology and Med Spa, beyond the surface.
For the 3rd consecutive year, the Chiefs are headed back to the big game. I'm going to let Hy-Vee do all of our game day shopping with Aisles Online. Just place your order online and schedule a convenient pickup or delivery time. Place your order today and get a 75-cent per gallon fuel discount with any $125 purchase. And Hy-Vee has everything you need in one place with endless watch party food options including wings, pizza, specialty brats, chips, and so much more. Hy-Vee, the official grocery partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Score big savings with Hy-Vee and the Kansas City Chiefs. Big points mean even bigger savings. Just shop Hy-Vee the day after a game and earn a fuel saver discount equal to the Chiefs' score and based on the amount you spend. If the Chiefs score 42 points, you save 42 cents a gallon with any $42 purchase. The more we score, the more you save. Win or lose, everyone scores the day after a Chiefs game only at Hy-Vee. Offer good in store and online. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Fall in love with your home comfort this season and save money too. A $69 heating system tune-up from Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter is the best way to ensure your HVAC system is operating at top efficiency. Boost your comfort and help prevent breakdowns by calling the experts at Hamilton today. With over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews, the pros at Hamilton are your best bet. Visit callhamilton.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2024-11121.
You're listening to Kickoff with Boomer and Valenti. Locally here on 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City. Kickoff with Boomer Esiason and Mike Valenti is presented locally by ESPN Bet Sportsbook.
What does it feel like to file with TaxSlayer and get your guaranteed maximum refund? It feels like the last level of a video game, facing off against the final boss who stands between you and your refund.
All your refund is belong to me.
Using the power of TaxSlayer like a secret power-up he doesn't see coming.
Only the most tax confident can defeat me.
Throwing your laptop at his video game face and watching him crumble into a giant pile of shiny coin tax refunds.
Oh, not fair. You use TaxSlayer.
Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hey, Chiefs Kingdom, as the official whiskey sponsor of the NFL, it's not a kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why we've built the Crown Royal Rig, an absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more. Please drink responsibly.
Arvest Bank believes in the power of serving others. That's why we're committed to supporting those who serve our communities. We believe that all communities deserve a financial partner who cares. Arvest. We believe.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
When I wake up, the best mornings in the morning light start with Wrangler. I put on my jeans and I feel alright. Jeans, jackets, and shirts that get your day started. Good mornings make for better days. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks Vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks Vapors.
Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Big game coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by Community America Credit Union. Member owned, open to all, invested in you. Join today at communityamerica.com. Fesco and Dusty, live from New Orleans all week long for Super Bowl 59. Right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's Trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. While the Chiefs continue their practice schedule this week down in New Orleans. Remember, they're practicing at Tulane. They're the visiting team for the Super Bowl. What was interesting today, though, is that it looks like the Chiefs have put a grass playing surface over the top of the turf practice field at Tulane.
Even though they'll be playing on turf.
But it's a couple things. One, as you and I know, we're up in St. Joe. They'll do everything possible not to practice indoors. And even this is still outdoors, but
in Kansas City, too.
It's because of the turf, mainly. The other part is, I'm sure they've studied this, the synthetic turf in the Caesar Superdome. Maybe they feel like it actually is the same density, or probably there's obviously a very good reason why they do it. Interesting, though, that instead of complaining about the surface, they just fixed it, unlike their opponents from the last couple of years.
Yeah, last year there was a complaint about the surface in the practice facility. You know, you can't just like buy that at the shop, right? Mm-hmm. You have to plan ahead, make a plan, give yourself that opportunity. It's crazy. Good organizations do good things top to bottom. They don't just bitch after the fact that they won't let us practice on the other field because we don't like the way the other one feels. Next up on What's Trending, the Royals announced an agreement with Gray Media to simulcast 10 games this year on KCTV5 and KSMO in Kansas City for free over-the-air broadcast. Announced that agreement yesterday over those, and we'll see kind of how it goes. I'm going to talk about this more later in the show because I'll admit to some frustration with fans because I feel like this is a fight that has been continuing for years where I don't think what is being purported about it is accurate from what you're being available. I think it's great news. 10 free games over the air. This is fantastic. Do I wish it was 162? Yeah, everyone does. But I don't know why you'd be complaining about them getting any free games to you. Mostly these are going to air on Sundays. They have not decided which Sundays yet.
That's better than what you've had before. I mean, that's as simple as that. And there's still limitation. They have a deal with Diamond Sports Group, FanDuel Sports Network, to carry games. There's a ton of money involved. So, of course, they're not going to let them just air 162 for free over the air. I think it's cool that we're going to get 10 of these. Of course, you can also just listen to every single game right here on 96.5 The Fan. Next up on What's Trending, a game you heard right here on your own for Kansas City Sports. 96.5 The Fan was Kansas State basketball.
Chiefs, Royals.
They got a win last night. Late one. Didn't start till 9 o'clock. They won at Arizona State 71-70. The Cats have some momentum heading into Saturday's Sunflower Showdown against KU. MU in action tonight. Big one in Knoxville, taking on a top 25 Tennessee team. 6 o'clock right here on 96.5 The Fan, which reminds me, if that is on 96.5 The Fan, maybe I don't have a betting show tonight. I'll have to see. Maybe it's not on 96.5. Maybe it's on the AM. I honestly just realized that as we're saying it out loud, so we'll figure that out.
Either on The Fan AM, 610, or 96.5 The Fan, we will let you know. Either way, it'll be here.
Drew's looking right now.
Number 4 team in the country, MU is playing really good basketball. They had a schedule hiccup, or not hiccup, where they were going to face 4 straight ranked opponents. They had won 2 in a row now.
Yeah, and by the way, that's MU. I'm getting K-State and MU confused, so we're good.
That'll be over on
live tonight.
That'll be over on KMB.
Yeah, that's my bad. I got that confused.
Yeah, they were on last night. You're like, wait, this tonight? Gold will be. He'll have that betting show tonight, as we'll continue to have programming related to the Chiefs Super Bowl run. Next up on What's Trending, the Milwaukee Bucks are trading Chris Middleton, A.J. Johnson, and a pick swap to the Washington Wizards for Kyle Kuzma, Patrick Baldwin Jr., and a second-round pick. This is under normal NBA trade standards, a pretty decent-sized deal in the NBA. Problem is we've had a couple of massive ones, including the Luka Doncic one. So, I mean, it's not a nothing deal. Obviously, the Milwaukee Bucks are trying to find their way back there. It always goes back to the same thing. When you're a small market team, you are, and sometimes when you're a big market team, desperately always trying to keep your star happy. They did a great job winning a title with Giannis, but they're in Milwaukee. And so every year, you have to fight through the rumors are the Golden State Warriors would like Giannis to come to their team and trade for him. You're like, everyone wants Giannis.
Jimmy Butler, and they might do KD.
Trade deadlines tomorrow. You mentioned KD. He was officially downgraded to doubtful, but a lot of people believe that is just because they want to see if they're going to be able to pull off a trade. And, of course, they want to keep him healthy. So
sucks for Chris Middleton. You go from a team that's contending for a title potentially to go into the 6-41 or whatever the heck their record is, Washington Wizards.
I think maybe they're at 7 or 8.
That's a cash and check the rest of the year situation.
I think maybe they're at 7 or 8 like now, and they're just pathetic. But as you said, tank for whatever the fun saying they have in D.C. now about Cooper Flag, whatever thing they've come up with. You
think the Spurs regret going for Wemby?
Yeah, I don't know what the slogan is though. I'm sure they're like tank.
Fail for Flag.
Yeah,
it's always got to be alliterative.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out like what that would be. But
fail for Flag.
Cooper Flag is definitely what you should be going for at this point.
Crap
if you're the
for
Washington.
Cooper. Whatever.
Remember, it's a lottery system though. There's no guarantee they get them. That's the only thing.
But you get a better chance.
Better chance. All right, that's what's trending here on Cody and Gold.
Don't forget, Jefferson's is always the official lunch partner here at 96.5 The Fan. Catch every game at Jefferson's, from the blocked field goals to the incredible catches, like, maybe the big game this Sunday. Witness every moment at a restaurant that's proudly local. Visit Jefferson's in Lenexa. In North Kansas City, Jefferson's Wings, or North Kansas City or Lenexa, Jefferson's Wings, Burgers, Oysters. We're going to get some, to my understanding, a little wing for lunch
about 20
today.
minute or so, man. I can't wait for that.
Cody won wingy. I always feel like because Tommy Boy, it's easy because it ends in a Y,
All right. Our guy Nick asked us what we wanted, and I was like, well, one, corn nuggets for sure, man. I need the corn nuggets. And then
that's a number one for you every time.
Yeah, the corn nuggets. Honey barbecue today.
Is that what you got last time?
No, I got the
teriyaki
Jamaican jerk,
Jamaican.
I believe, or Caribbean jerk, whatever it is.
I went with a new flavor I haven't had
it
at Jefferson's before. I went hot honey citrus.
Okay, that sounds good actually. Drew, what did you?
I like a hot honey flavor that's really grown on me over the years, so I'm kind of curious.
Dry lemon pepper rub.
Okay. That sounds good. I mean, everyone likes lemon rub. I mean,
have to go boneless. We're trying to eat these during the show, so I think you have to go boneless in the show.
Tough.
Yeah, I think it's. I
got to eat in like a
easier.
6-minute window, man. It's kind of tough.
So looking forward to that.
For me, it's a little bit easier.
And definitely get your wings set for the big game coming up on Sunday. So 2 weeks ago, we saw the Chiefs and the Bills handle the tush push well, or the Bills version of that, right?
Yeah, they did an incredible job, honestly.
I think
it was one of the single biggest reasons they won.
Najee Johnson had spoken to the media after the game as well, and he acknowledged like they kind of knew he was going left every time. And so the Chiefs get the big fourth down stop on 4th and 1. They also force them to do some other things near the goal line. There's nobody better at it, though. They invented it, and that is Jalen Hurts and the Eagles' tush push. Now, he says he just calls it a QB sneak, but it's the brotherly shove. It's the tush push. It's all of that. We know how effective it was the last couple of years. They were using it in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs a couple of years ago. Now they have another strong dude in Saquon Barkley who could also help with the tush push. But the key to this is still Jalen Hurts. I think in terms of lower body strength, no other quarterback has better lower body strength in the NFL. Steve Spagnuolo today was asked about it, and it's kind of what we were saying earlier, which is there's no like trick to stopping it per se, but you have to prevent them from being in those spots, and that's the key. Yeah. Can you 4th and 2 versus a 4th and 1 versus a 4th and 4? It's a 3rd and goal at the 2-yard line, or is it a 3rd and goal at the 5-yard line? That's all you can hope for, and they're going to get circumstances where it's that scenario where they'll do it. But that's why it's so crucial. 4th and 3 and greater, which would apply for a lot of teams, but especially this team.
I'll say the Chiefs did not do a good job at avoiding that in the last game. They did a great job at stopping it. But do you realize how many times Josh Allen ran that play? It was like 5 or 6 times, man. Gold, he ran that play 6 times, I think, like the shove. I know that they don't want to call it a tush push because then that makes it seem like you're not doing the work. Tough. That's the name. But when you look at it, they ran that thing a bunch. They did not do a good job keeping Buffalo out of that 3rd and short situation. Jalen Hurts rates really poorly this year when under pressure. Really poorly. Do you know the only way to get him under pressure is to get him in 3rd and medium or long? 3rd and 5 or 6, 3rd and 7, 8, 9. Any of those work because if you get him in 3rd and 3, it's a first down. If you get him in 3rd and 5, it's just historically this season, he's bad. He's downright bad he ranks near the bottom of almost every qualified quarterback in the NFL against pressure this season. So, if you actually get to him, that all comes down to. That's why, this is, again, the big thing. If they actually get in the situation, I have no confidence they'll stop it, which is fine. That's part of how they're successful.
Yeah.
But, I'm not pretending just because they did good against Buffalo. They got it all figured out now. Their offensive line's a little weaker, so they're not quite as good at it as last year. Chris Jones maybe ups your success rate. But it's still going to succeed 80% of the time.
It's a dominating play. The numbers we looked it up in the last time, and here's some more specific ones, just on whether it's a first down or a touchdown. The Eagles this year, not counting the postseason, I don't believe this factors in whatever they've done in the playoffs, but 70% of the time on QB sneaks or tush push, they picked up a first down or a touchdown this year. The previous 3 seasons, it was 80%. So it's down 10% effectiveness, whether that's the O-line, as you said, the different center, not having Jason Kelce, or that's that, hey, Jalen Hurts has had some injuries at times this season. Has that impacted it? But 70% of the time in 2024, you see him do a tush push. It's a first down, or you hope it's not this, but it's been a touchdown. And that of course, will be, a huge play throughout the game, even though it's the most boring play to watch in the NFL.
I'll say the only thing about it is I think the only downside to the tush push, and for the most part, it's a net gain 99% of the time. The only downside is, I think it is underrated. We got an email that the lights were
The lights just went out of the studio.
So if you're watching on the stream and all of a sudden the lights died.
They're changing over. They're changing over the generator. We were told the lights would go out for a little while.
I kind of forgot, and then the lights went out. But the only way in which it becomes this big negative is I think people underestimate the emotional boost you get from stopping it. When you stop it, like when you stop them from getting the one time on a fourth, if you stop them down in the red zone a couple of times, I feel like every player is getting ready to jump through the roof in excitement when they actually get it. That's the only downside, I think, to it. Other than that, Gold, you and I both know this is a success play. I mean, just so often, man.
Yeah, 70%. 70% of the time, it results in a first down or a touchdown for the Eagles. And Kansas City will have to deal with that. We asked Tyrann Mathieu about Dallas Goedert, the tight end for Philly, and he gave a lot of praise to him, more so after the catch. He thinks not overall tight end ranking, but in terms of
what
run
he does
after
once
the
he gets
catch. He said he thinks he's a top 5 tight end in yards after the catch, Dallas Goedert. And I was going to reference a stat to you, but unfortunately with the generator, my stat is not loading, so I apologize. I had a stat. I promise I had a stat to back up what I was trying to say, how the Chiefs are going to have to answer for tight end on third down.
What was the stat? Just make it up now.
Well, no.
He's very good
It was
on third down.
It was alluding to him, but also we know the Chiefs give up the most receiving yards to tight ends in football. Mm-hmm. We know the Chiefs give up the 15th most touchdowns to tight ends in football. And then I was going to give you Dallas Goedert specifically.
It has consistently been their weakness. Jalen Hurts has now completed 13 of 14 passes for 240 yards when targeting Dallas Goedert on third down this season. It includes the playoffs, 8 first downs, and a massive 106.6 win probability added for that play. This is a big problem in this matchup. And the reason why this is a big problem is that the Chiefs are bad on third down anyway. Truthfully, they're just not they're not consistent on third and long. They get burnt a lot in that spot. They are not good against tight ends. So what you're telling me is third and medium or long where it's been a problem, tight ends where it's been a problem. This guy has been the single best receiver for their team in that spot all year. Once a game, he catches a big third down for them for a massive amount of win-added probability, of course, this season. This is a matchup that I think on paper they got to figure out an answer for. And it might be, for the first time all year, bracket coverage, one less blitzer, like putting somebody on him that you haven't been willing to do, like Trent McDuffie.
I don't think that's
it might
happening,
actually
though.
require a change because this is a big mismatch in the game for that particular spot.
I don't think they're going to change that, though. We talk all the time, like, you can have a different game plan, but I don't think you try to do something that you weren't able to do all year, like, and risk other areas where you could be attacked. Like, I think the Chiefs decided very early on in the season, if there was an area where they were going to have some deficiency defensively, like, they were willing to basically, not that they wanted to give up 100 yards to tight ends, but just they were willing to say, all right, if that beats us, it beats us. We're going to lock down in other areas
down,
that are...
don't let it beat you in this game because he's been beating people.
Well, third downs in general, yeah. Like, you don't want to give up third down conversions.
I'm saying not with him. Don't let him beat you. Let somebody else beat you on third down.
Yeah, but still, man, like, I understand the numbers, but if we're talking about third down conversions and the hierarchy of who I'm most concerned about getting a first down against me, I understand Goddard's been good, but Saquon's number 1, Jalen Hurts is number 2, and then A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. Now, maybe you think I'm way off and you would put Goddard higher. I'm just saying, in terms of guys that could change the entire game and can have that 50-yard touchdown, Barkley's at the top of the list. Jalen Hurts would be after that because his ability is still to be mobile and run. And then, of course, A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. Dallas Goedert is a very good tight end. I'm just saying that the Chiefs have shown throughout the season, you can be a tight end that gets 90 yards on them and it doesn't cost you games. It's not going to be the backbreaker type of play, not from a tight end. It's just not. Like, he's going to get yards. Like, hell, the first drive of the game, Cal Katera, their number 2 tight end, is probably going to have a catch for 10 yards or something like that.
Probably like the higher yardage on both of those guys, depending on what it is. But do the math. 13 to 14 passes for 240 yards when targeting him on third down. That means he is averaging 18.5 yards a catch on third down. Like, against your true weakness on defense. Like, and I get it. Yeah. In the game plan, we're more about Saquon. Fine. I'm just saying on third down, especially third and medium, where your gut instinct is, well, I better guard Devonta Smith, who's also been very good against Kansas City in their matchups, or I better guard A.J. Brown.
I'm just looking at the defenses the last couple weeks he's faced. So, like, last week he had 7 or 2 weeks ago.
This is all the season.
Yeah, no, I got you. Yeah. But but sure, like the all-season numbers still, when I give you 6 or 7 games. But I'm just saying, so against the Commanders, we all agree bad defense, right? 7 catches for 85 for Dallas Goedert. Against the Rams, got better, good front, but still, it's not a top 5, top 10 defense. 4 for 56. Packers, they've got holes, 4 for 47. Giants, good front, bad football team. This is also in January. 4 for 55. Against the Ravens, not a great pass defense, remember? 3 for 35. I'm just saying, like, his best game again was actually... The reason Tyrann Mathieu spoke very highly on him because his best game of the season was against the Saints.
10 for
$170. So I'm sure they felt like he was dominant because he was.
I'm not talking about just like, I don't even know that, like I said, the entirety of the game plan. I'm just saying have a plan specifically for third down against Dallas Goedert.
I know.
Or he's gonna burn
Look,
you.
if we're sitting here on Monday and the Chiefs lost and we say, man, Dallas Goedert, Saquon was held to 100 yards, but Dallas Goedert went for $130 and 2 touchdowns, then you can tell me I'm way wrong, and I guess I'll just have to, I'll be disgusted with it, but like, so be it. Like, he's going to have moments. I'm not saying he's obviously a very good player.
No, we all know tight ends will get some yardage against Kansas City.
I would be, and I don't think you're saying this either. Like, I would be stunned if we're sitting here Monday being like, man, Dallas Goedert just killed him, and that was the difference. Like, I would be stunned if that's the reason.
I will say, like, we've had these conversations before. Typically, we have them at the beginning of the playoffs, and I don't think we've done it as much because this team's been so balanced. The Achilles heel conversation.
Yeah.
If the Chiefs are going to lose, what is the thing that we've seen all year long that's going to cost them?
Well, third down.
Third down defense.
Yeah,
third and long defense, right? That's like way up on the list. Third down defense has got to be somewhere on there. Guard, right? Tackle. Like the
just
offensive
line.
line.
Duress, yeah.
Yeah, the offensive line play, that has consistently been the heel. Tight ends is like one of the only, I think only one of like maybe 3 to 4 things that have been consistent all year in the negative. All year in the negative has been offensive line play. All year in the negative has been third and long defense. All year in the negative has been tight end. It has not cost them many games.
Yeah, how many
because
times in a
obviously
game,
they've only lost 2 games.
Other than being frustrated with, all of a sudden they gave up 15 yards to a tight end. How many times did you watch a Chiefs game this year and be like, my God, if they don't stop this tight end, they're going to lose the game? I don't think I ever said that.
Maybe I likely in the first game. I'd have to go back through it.
Yeah.
I'd have to honestly think about it. But I'm just saying, like, a lot of times the answer is right in front of us and the problems that have existed this entire time are right in front of you. And this feels like it kind of lands in that comfort zone of maybe that does mean something, right? And I'm just pointing out that they use them on third down. They use them on third and long. It's actually kind of a combination stat for me. It's not just that Dallas Goedert and tight ends are a problem. It's that it points to your other direct weakness on defense that has been consistent all year, which is it's 3rd and 13, or in my case, I get frustrated when it's 2nd and 15 and you give up a first down because that seems pretty consistent for them. This is a mistake I think defenses make all the time. They should stop taking the penalties on these first downs altogether. These teams who don't know how to get off the field, 1st and 15 ain't worth it. 2nd and 10 is better. Screw those 5 yards in the extra down. You are conceding defensively the 5 yards anyway, so you don't care. If it gets to 2nd and 10, you're considering that a win. If it's a win, then just be at 2nd and 10. I would start declining almost any 5-yard penalty on first down.
Just a note to pass along from some of the coverage down in New Orleans, and of course for social media coverage and everything, be sure to follow Fesco and Dusty, also our station Twitter, social media accounts, Instagram in particular. They've been doing a great job covering everything from New Orleans. They got a whole Gators down there. Would you have held that at the media party last night?
I've held a Gator before.
You have?
Mm-hmm.
Where?
Oh, just like on a vacation, we were down we were in like Mississippi or whatever they had them.
True.
They had like a whole farm full of them.
Pretty good sized gator. It looked like the gator was
Watch the guy wrestle.
I swear that gator was sedated or something.
Like the one that Dusty held?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never held a gator before, but I would do it.
He lived in Florida. I just assumed,
Yeah.
Do you own anything Gator? You got some boots or a belt or something?
No. The only thing that's Gator that I have is a Florida Gators, a couple of the Florida Gators T-shirts.
I bring up the coverage from New Orleans because I just saw Cameron Wolf was reporting, and this is looking ahead to the future a bit, but he said the Chiefs are optimistic about the progress wide receiver Rashee Rice has been making in his rehab so far. They expect him to make a return in 2025, obviously. I think the health part is almost not my concern. It's always just, all right, how many games is he missing? Is he missing the first 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever it may be?
More than enough time to fully recover.
Yeah, I think health-wise. The question will be the legal stuff. Will that be resolved by this summer?
I don't know
if
why
it's
you
not,
wouldn't get it resolved right now. Don't let it
he
linger
would
into
like
next
to. And
year.
he's obviously paying a very high-priced attorney to get that taken care of. But also, if it's not if it can't get on the docket before the start of the season, then the NFL won't act before that, and then it drags into the middle of the year. Yeah, you would love for this to be wrapped up in June or July, suspend them at the beginning of the season, and just be done with it.
Just know. All it is, it's the same thing. Just know. Because then that affects your draft plan, your off-season plan. How much wide receiver help do you need? And if it's just 6 games or 4 games, well, then you don't have to bring in additional draft picks or change your plan or bring in an additional wide receiver. You're just going to have to make do with the guys you have available. And it does seem in-house. There are a lot of people who seem to think Travis Kelce's coming back, which also helps you cover the loss of a player, right? Being gone for 4 weeks. Because if you've got Xavier Worthy and Travis Kelce, that's what you got now. Like, and Juju's a free agent, I know, and Hollywood's a free agent, and DeAndre Hopkins. Like, none of these guys are under contract.
I still think one of those 3, and maybe one of the 2 in particular, Hopkins and Brown, is back. And then I think they draft one in the 3rd round.
I think they're going to draft.
I think they're drafting another.
They'll draft a tight end or they'll draft a wide receiver. One of the 2.
I mean, Noah Gray, he quieted down, but Noah Gray, for a guy who does not get that many targets.
He's about to have 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl, guys.
And we're going to win $1,100 for the show fund?
Yeah, I mean he's about to have 2 touchdowns on Sunday, and we're going to cash a 110-1 ticket, and it'll be nice.
That's going to feel good.
Yeah,
it's happened. You know what's crazy is normally for a 110-1 ticket, I bet that the likelihood of that thing happening hasn't happened twice in a year, right? Like for a 110-1 ticket, he actually has done that 2 times.
Well, that's why
this season.
That's why one or 2 books has it at 40-1, and then FanDuel has it 110-1. That's where we bet it at. We'll talk about those kind of things tonight, 6 to 7. That betting show right here on 96.5 The Fan.
Are you going to bring that bet up for everybody else?
It'll get brought up tonight. Yes, absolutely. We'll talk about it. We'll get the latest odds on that. Up next, I want to talk about the playing service a little bit there at the Superdome. One stat that we found that could be a little troubling, and somebody put together an incredible self-help, I would say, commercial for those that might have CDS. That's next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold once again telling you about our friends over at Centric, and we've all been dealing with this brutal weather in Kansas City. Maybe you work outside and look, you've just had enough. Well, you can start a brand new career with our friends over at Centric because they allow you to advance your career on your time with their flexible schedule.
Classes start in February. You get to choose your curriculum, go with that new career path, and stop worrying about what the weather will do for you. Call our guy, Russ Mondry. He's been with Centric for 16 years and will be with you to guide you every step of the way. Go to Centric.com now.
Kansas City is gearing up for their 3rd straight championship title game, and Academy Sports and Outdoors has everything you need to rep your team during their historic run. Swing by your local Academy store today or shop online at academy.com to find officially licensed team gear in game-changing styles, from jerseys and tees to hoodies and hats, all at prices you'll love. Get the best KC gear for the biggest game of the year. Shop Nike, 47 brand, and more Kansas City styles at Academy.
It's Super Bowl 59 week, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. FanDuel makes it easy to place your bets and feel the thrill of every moment. Here's some fun bets in the app right now. You can bet on Saquon Barkley to have 25 rushing yards in each quarter. You can bet on either quarterback to catch a pass. You also can bet on an octopus. That means a player scores the touchdown and also scores the 2-point conversion. If you want to place one of those bets, then all you need to do is place a $5 bet, and if you win, you'll get $200 in bonus bets if you're a new customer. So download the app or head to FanDuel.com/KFNZ. Use my promo code and bet with FanDuel, an official partner of Super Bowl 59. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus badge, which expires 7 days after restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Art Casino, LLC. Gambling problem. Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
I'm McCall with Lee Summit Subaru, and it's time to make a big deal out of nothing. Zero, like in 0% financing. Zero is back. Up to 0% financing on select 2024 and 2025 Subaru models for 72 months. Yeah, we did that too. And we're Google's highest review rated and only locally owned Subaru retailer in Kansas City. 0% event and a lifetime warranty. Fall in love with driving again at Lee Summit Subaru.
Google highest review rated Subaru retailer in Kansas City based on 2023 Google Analytics.
So you want a greener, thicker, healthier lawn? You need the local experts. I'm Noah with Gunner Pest and Lawn. My family's been helping Kansas City homeowners since 1950. You know us for bugs, but have you heard about our 7-step lawn care service? Our customers love having the best lawn on the block. No contracts, expert technicians, and our treatments typically cost less than doing it yourself. Starting as low as $50 per application. Go Gunter, go green.
Visit gunterpest.com.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
What does it feel like to file with TaxSlayer and get your guaranteed maximum refund? It feels like the last level of a video game, facing off against the final boss who stands between you and your refund.
All your refund has belonged to me.
Using the power of TaxSlayer like a secret power-up he doesn't see coming.
Only the most tax-confident can defeat me.
Throwing your laptop at his video game face and watching him crumble into a giant pile of shiny coin tax refunds.
Oh, not fair. You use TaxSlayer.
Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
This report is brought to you by CareNow Urgent Care. Find one near you at carenow.com.
CareNow Urgent Care has 15 Kansas City area locations open 7 days a week. From injuries and illnesses to school and sports physicals, CareNow Urgent Care is here to help you feel better fast. Find a location near you at carenow.com and use our convenient web check-in today.
You're listening to 96.5 The...
This might be the first song. This might be the first song. It's got plus money.
Be the opposite of humble if the Chiefs
Kendrick Lamar
on Sunday.
First song halftime show. I don't know.
It's going to be the song you should have sung. That Nick Sirianni should have gotten after he said,
"Oh wow,
see ya," in the tunnel, and then lost the Super Bowl later. Someone should have told him to be humble.
Do you think we know Chris Jones? Chris Jones has had emotional moments of like crying during the anthem and stuff as well. Remember, I'll never forget though. You and I were standing next to each other in Phoenix at the game, and all of a sudden they show on the video board, and Nick Sirianni. I mean, he was bald.
Streaming down his face.
It was an incredible moment, honestly. They lost the game, so it didn't get talked about as much. Do you think the same thing happens on Sunday?
Probably. They always show Chris Jones shedding a tear, but he does it like it's an 80s PSA. It's just like one tear.
Nick Sirianni was
steady
like,
down.
Nick Sirianni
was like, he was like losing it.
I couldn't believe it, which again, I was not expecting to see it.
Does the national anthem move you that way? Do you also, are you brought to tears?
I don't get brought to tears, but there's some, if it's one of those, like if it's a top tier performance and you get the flyover and you can sense the magnitude of the moment, like at a Super Bowl, it's goosebumps more than tears. It's like, oh, this is legit. I was
thinking about that same crying photo because, like, if they lose, I'm posting it. Like, if they're down like 20 in the fourth quarter, then I'm just gonna post this again.
Everybody has that saved, ready to go. Yeah.
Oh man, he looks dead. I mean, he looks like he lost a family member in that.
He was emotional, man. He was emotional.
Rushed.
He hit, he reached a goal of his, the Super Bowl. I get it, but it was just it was stunning just to see. Anyway, we'll get to the random question of the day here in about 15 minutes or so. Our big game coverage on 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by Community America Credit Union, member owned, open to all, invested in you. Join today at communityamerica.com. So I mentioned that at Tulane, which is where the Chiefs are practicing, the college facility, it's an outdoor stadium, but it's got turf. Well, we know they're playing indoors at Caesars Superdome with synthetic turf as well, and so the Chiefs are having a grass surface over the practice surface, which, is definitely interesting. Then I saw that 15 NFL fields that have the most in 2023.
That's a long enough window.
Yeah.
I don't think I have to worry about it.
The number one is not going to stun you guys at all. State Farm Stadium, where the Chiefs had the turf issues in the Super Bowl, and Harrison Butker the next year got hurt, and Trent McDuffie, his rookie season, remember he had the injury. All right, that's number one.
That field's a mess.
Number two.
They grow that thing outside, too. It's like natural grass, and it's terrible.
5.35 injuries per game. Number two will also not surprise you, MetLife Stadium. We've heard that.
Yeah, everyone talks about the turf.
What does that say? Sorry, small print. 5.92 injuries per game in that one. Number three on the list, keep going through, Nissan Stadium in Tennessee. They're getting a new stadium here very soon. And then number four is Houston NRG Stadium. They're talking about they maybe want a new stadium. All right, number five is where the Super Bowl's at. Caesars Superdome. There is 5.83 injuries per game. That's the surface they're playing on Sunday. It's not so much the injuries, because that's interesting. It's a top five injury stadium.
That's a lot of injuries per game, dude. That's 2.5 per team.
It's top five. I mean, that is a lot on average. I will say from a playing aspect, Xavier Worthy on that turf is going to be fun to watch. The speed that it's going to be the same turf he was running on in Indianapolis for that combine when he broke the record. That's going to be fun. They got that. Now it applies for Saquon Barkley as well.
And Devonta Smith.
And Devonta Smith.
Not slow.
But the injury, just keep that in mind. I hope for either side, we hope you don't see any injuries that impact the game or anything like that. But if there are injuries and you're like, man, it feels like there's quite a few already, fifth most injury-prone field in the NFL is Caesars Superdome.
I almost just wish we hadn't put this into the universe. And again, we're not a jinx. You and I talk about this all the time when people are like, you can't talk about parade. They haven't even won yet. And I'm like, well, they got to plan stuff. That's just the way that it works. That is an incredibly high number. And look, I'll be honest. I don't know how many average injuries there are in a game. And if
Arrowhead's not in the top 15, if you're wondering.
And I don't know. So I don't know two things. I don't know how many average injuries there are in just a standard NFL run-of-the-mill game. Yeah. And if this qualifies as just like anybody who has to come off the field but gets to go back in, right? Gets a shoulder stinger, pulls a hammy but comes back in. That's it. But there is no way to ignore that I'm supposed to anticipate both teams having at least 3 players miss some snaps due to injury in this game based on the history of this field over the last 5 years. That's terrifying because you just can't have it happen to the wrong player. Like, for instance, if it happens to Devonta Smith for them, but it only happens to Mike Dana for you, an important player, but there's a difference, right? In impact that player might possess. I'm always worried with soft tissue stuff with this. Those fields always get the people who are like fast and moving and making cuts. Corners, wide receivers, linebackers, stuff.
Well, I went on ahead and I looked. Yeah. Not Hollywood Brown. Xavier Worthy played on this field 2 years ago. College football playoff.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay.
With Texas. What was his stat line?
2 catches for 45 yards, but his longest was 38. Correct.
How quick did he run?
Him and A.D. Mitchell were taken up a lot by that Washington defense, but he's played on the field,
remember,
so he's used to that.
Philly played in that stadium this year against the Saints.
They did.
They played
week 5 or something?
Yeah. We had Tyrann on. He brought up this was like 15-13 game, and Barkley had 120 yards, 140
147, I think.
And we mentioned Goddard's stat line already.
Devontae was 7 for 79.
Jalen Hurts threw for over 300, but didn't have a touchdown. It was a weird game statistically. But if you're wondering about familiarity with the stadium and the field and all that, yeah, I guess, okay, the Eagles did play. The Chiefs played in New Orleans 4 years ago or something like that. It's been a while.
Like, you can't root for injuries, obviously, but like, as obviously as big of an impact as this could have in Kansas City. I mean, what if it's Saquon?
Texans figured it out. They're like, if the Eagles will only be the team that gets injured, they'll blame it on that'll be the excuse this year.
Oh, it's rigged.
We found out the excuse.
The field and it's
again.
Rigged. Look, credit to Kansas City. A year ago, the team that they were facing threw a fit because they did not like the surface of the practice field in which they had to attend. As a result of that, they asked the Chiefs if they could practice on their field instead. The Chiefs have an option in that and said, "Nah, we're good. You guys just practice on that field. We're not doing you any favors right now. Sorry." The Chiefs knew they weren't going to like the practice field at Tulane and had grass put on top of it, even though they're going to play on an artificial surface. Because Andy Reid's whole thing is exactly what this field does. Andy hates, and I cannot emphasize this enough, hates having to practice on artificial surfaces under any circumstances. He actively fights against it. It's why, like you mentioned in St. Joe, they will fight through a tornado almost to practice outside versus go to the indoor at Missouri Western. He doesn't want to do it. So he is not going to risk, even at the difference of maybe it being the same surface, Gold, he's not going to risk somebody getting hurt in a practice in the week leading up to the Super Bowl for the same reason that this field is a mess, because it's just a more dangerous surface.
Text line wants to know, Drew, do you like fake or natural?
Who texted that?
It just popped up.
Natural, 100%.
Okay, just checking. And everything. And life.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Natural is always better than
That's
fake.
good to know, you know?
Always better than fake.
It's good to know that people have
in all areas.
All areas. Whether it's your home life or an attempted threesome.
Everything.
You know, like the Chiefs are
The Chiefs are going for one.
Well,
you know, it doesn't really matter the circumstances. That's at least the case. But I like that. I like that as an organ. Like, it's completely undersold anytime. And you and I have said this before. And, you know, like, obviously they're going for 3 in a row and everything else in between. But completely undersold as part of these things is that the best organizations do every little thing right in-house. They think we won't like the turf, so they order a turf. They know what the injury-related things are to this, so they practice in those conditions. They prepare themselves, even from like a business standpoint, better than other teams. They know how to travel. They know how to book. They know how to get themselves places. They choose all these things on purpose. Nothing is unintentional inside the Chiefs organization.
Do we know why, though, this is only a conversation when it comes to the Super Bowl? Because
which part? Sorry, which part? The field?
Yeah,
because people complain about MetLife Stadium all the time.
Because New Orleans is hosted, 9 games. I just wonder.
The city's hosted more Super Bowls than any, right?
Yeah, I don't know why we wait, I guess, to have this conversation until maybe because it's the biggest game of the year and all that other stuff.
Yeah, that's all.
And there's 2 weeks where people are not trying to find headlines because there's enough. But
yeah, like look, I don't know who this was. I think was it. I don't know, Sports Business Journal. I saw it. I read the article. I'm like, that's kind of interesting. And then we're obviously here we are. We're talking about it. Otherwise,
right.
I put it this way. I was not going to go on my own research the average injuries on MetLife compared to Caesars Superdome. But they had a nice little graphic that made it easy to read.
Terrible reputation.
Yeah, that's been known for a bit.
And the fact that this one's just as bad tells you sometimes it's just about like what people think about it out loud. This one's hurting people almost as much.
That's right.
Because artificial surfaces typically do.
We know over the last month in particular, CDS, Chiefs Derangement Syndrome, has spread like a wildfire. It's a virus infecting everybody across this country, specifically in the Northeast, around Foxborough, and then in NFL Network studios and ESPN studios, really, really bad. Those that just can't come to grips that the Chiefs are going for a three-peat and they want to blame it on refs and conspiracy theories. So finally, somebody found the cure. If you're willing to try a new medicine. I'll give credit to Josh Chavis, a listener. Someone was on Twitter as well, that put this together. Now, you got to watch the video if you want the full experience, but we'll play the audio.
Because it looks like a medical PSA for like a drug company.
Think of whatever like stereotypical like new drug commercial, okay? That's what this was. Take a listen.
Has football got you down? Are you experiencing uncontrollable rage every time Patrick Mahomes makes a play? Are you screaming the league is rigged before the game even starts? Do you have an irrational, unexplained hatred for pop stars? If so, you may be suffering from a rare but serious condition called Chiefs Derangement Syndrome. But don't worry, help is here. Introducing Krylenol, the first FDA-approved treatment for Chiefs Derangement Syndrome, or CDS. Krylenol works fast to help you accept reality that maybe the Chiefs are just better. Patrick Mahomes is inevitable. The refs don't miss the call, your team's just undisciplined, and Andy Reid is simply better than your head coach. With Krylenol, you'll finally be able to enjoy football again, even if it means watching the Chiefs win the Super Bowl again. Side effects may include accepting Mahomes as the GOAT, refraining from tweeting #NFL is rigged, developing a sudden respect for Travis Kelce, reduced blood pressure when Taylor Swift appears on screen, and an uncontrollable urge to watch Super Bowl highlights. Do not take Krylenol if you're a lifelong Bills, Bengals, or Raiders fans. Side effects may be irreversible. Ask your doctor if Krylenol is right for you. Get back to loving football again. Krylenol, because the Chiefs aren't going anywhere, and neither is your pain.
Krylenol, thank you. Finally a cure. You know, if we were in New Orleans, I would bring fake pill bottles with Krylenol. I'd be epic and have it at the table and hand it out.
And if you get the right person to come through as a guest, you're like, oh, please. We're happy to help you.
And they're just Smarties. They're just like Smarties in there or something. But you just hand out. Specifically, you go to Philadelphia.
You're not going to actually dose people on Radio Row.
Well, you could get some pill bottles, Krylenol, and give it to media members. You know, over the years, in particular, the last couple of months.
The delusion has continued. I mean, it's not like it's gotten any better. And credit to him. That's a funny PSA put together. Obviously, the video.
Shout out to Josh.
The video is funny because it shows like everybody's got their hands in their face in their palm, and then when the music gets upbeat, everybody's smiling. They're walking around the floor.
So good. It was well done. Very well done. It's something that you would have seen on SNL or something. Yeah. Very, very well done.
I just can't honestly, at this point, because you might as well lean in, like we said, embrace the hate and everything else in between. At this point, I hope they went on a controversial call. You know? I hope they doink one into the uprights. I hope it's a roughing the passer call against Patrick Mahomes on the final snap of the game. You know what? I hope you have to bathe in it.
So look,
as they go to Disney World and have a parade and celebrate 3 in a row.
If Patrick Mahomes throws a Hail Mary and it's caught by, I don't know, whoever, I guess. In this case, it might even be worse if it's like Justin Watson or somebody else. I would strongly consider. I would strongly consider. You know what?
It's moving.
No, I'm not going to move.
Change cities.
But I would be like, you know what, guys? I might take the day off because I would be so frustrated.
I'm with you where you'd be like, let them be miserable because it was a bad call. But in general, I think we would prefer. I certainly would if the Chiefs win the game and there is no controversial call because I don't want to hear the whining. You're saying like
you're going to say no matter what.
Probably.
I kind of like them. Like you have to bathe in even more misery. Not only did they win it, now you got to be like, well, it's not fair.
No, but I'm talking about like a real call, like not just the mad about a spot because they'll find you're right. They'll find anything. I'm saying like the holding call 2 years ago, even though the player himself admitted, yeah, I held Juju Smith-Schuster. Like
it's so crazy. He
did. I don't want it to be like even that because that's people will complain no matter what, but I don't want it to be
you want it to just
final,
be a natural.
Yeah, I don't want it to be the
touchdown.
final drive of the game, and the Chiefs need a 15-yard roughing the passer penalty to move down the field, even if it's the right call, because people will claim it's not the right call. That's why I don't want that to happen. People are asking where the Krylenol commercial is. I retweeted it, but I believe the original Josh Chavis 65. Josh, CHAVIS 65 is the Twitter account, but if you go to mine, @AlexGold, I also retweeted it. And, props to him.
We know there's one thing that is going to be true, Cody and Alex, next week if the Chiefs win.
Deal with it.
That's right.
I'm going to have to deal with it.
I'll deal with it if they win,
I don't know, man. I think, when we're going the parade route or whatever, I hope they're just rocking.
The heart of America.
We are the heart of America. Are we not? Are we not in the heart of America?
We didn't play the full 3 minutes. That song says America like 14 times.
Can you imagine if they turn the corner where you guys are at on the parade route and you hear that blasting?
Heart of America.
America. Yeah. I think you're just hating a little bit, man.
Maybe.
Shout out to Matt Hansen for that Chiefs Kingdom Rise song.
It sounds like you
get
were
creative
Creed
this
stuff.
time of year.
What's that? Well, when you did
Creed.
when you did your Creed impression,
it's more that style of music.
Yes.
Yeah, a little bit. And I was trying to imitate Scott Stapp a little bit, obviously, when I was doing that song.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get to the random question.
Random question.
For you, Gold. For you, Drew, over on the text line, 913-586-7965. Of course, you can hit us up on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook. We live stream the show for 4 hours every single day. Love to interact with you over there as well. And we'll take your answers over there as well as on the text line, 913-586-7965. Question from my personal life, as you well know, come up occasionally in the random question.
Oh, we already asked Drew about personal decisions earlier.
Fair or foul on whether or not this happened. As you guys know, I've been desperately waiting to get my Tiguan back from Volkswagen Lee Summit. Not from them, because I got rear-ended. It's now been 2 months. I have not received my car back. They're telling me maybe next week.
You shouldn't have stopped on the highway, man.
Maybe next week I might get my car back. But I have a rental during that time. The rental car company calls me yesterday, and they say, hey, this car, because you've had it for so long, it's due for some maintenance. And they're like, if you'd like, maybe tomorrow you could bring it by. We'll trade you out for a new ride that we're taking care of. Or, they said, it could be easier. This is the way they pitched it, I swear to God. If you'd like, it could be easier. You could just take it to one of our agreed partners, and you could just take it in for the oil change yourself. And I thought to myself, are you nuts? I'm not taking in this rental car for an oil change. That's on you.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if I was crazy or if that's a reasonable thing to ask, or maybe that would be less inconvenient than just trading the car out. I am not taking your rental car in for an oil change.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, you're not going to deal with that. You're gonna go and spend 30 minutes or whatever it's going to be for an oil change, and it's not even your vehicle, when you could just go drop that car off and get a new rental car that's clean, that's got gas in the tank.
Would they like
that's
me to run it
obviously
through the wash on the way there, or give it a quick vacuum?
No, they're hoping that you'll do that. Makes their job way easier. Nope.
I thought instant no. I said I'll just trade it out. They're like, you sure? So yeah,
well, I'm sure.
I'll just be trading the cars out. No, I will not be taking this car in to first. I can't even just take it anywhere to get an oil change, right? Just bill you for it. I got to take it to one of let's say 5 places that you've got a partnership deal with. And then what? I got to convince this employee that this is a rental car and that you should be doing this oil change. Is it even in the system? I'm not explaining this to some guy who works at Jiffy Lube. No, just give me a different car. If I have the car so long that it needs an oil change, I'm just going to need a different car.
I was expecting you to tell us, you know what? I tried to be a nice guy, so I changed the oil myself in that real car.
And then charge them? Be like, I'll just send you a bill. I'll get the oil changed.
Yeah, you're approved. You're an approved spot. The tap front yard, the tap garage.
It's I don't even think I should wash a rental car before I return it.
I can't. By the way, what is taking so long to get your parts for this?
They got them in now.
That's insane.
It was one of the parts that they were waiting on for a very long time, but now it's in, and they're working on the car again. They're telling me,
okay,
maybe next week. So, problem solved.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said fastest car in the world is a rental car. Said do the oil change. No, I'm not changing the oil.
Yeah, it's not your car. So why mess with it overall? That is.
Couldn't they just wait for a few minutes?
The random question of the day.
Yeah, I was curious. Couldn't they just
Well, they're trying to keep proper maintenance on their rental vehicle.
So
I appreciate that. I mean, that's good because eventually they sell those cars to people. So it's nice to know that they actually try to keep the maintenance up on the rental cars.
Do the oil
on the rental cars. Yeah, no doubt.
Also, were they going to ask for proof? They'd just be like, "Yeah, sure, I'll get the oil changed myself."
How are you getting it paid for?
They just said they have like agreements. I assume
so they would probably know if you actually did it or not. Don't forget, it's the lunch hour here on 96.5 The Fan. It's brought to you by Jefferson's, our official lunch partner. Catch every game at Jefferson's, from the block field goals that we saw happen throughout the year, the incredible catches, witness every moment at a restaurant that's proudly local. Visit Jefferson's in Lenexa or in North Kansas City. Jefferson's, wings, burgers, oysters. Gonna have some of these honey barbecue wings coming up.
Is Sunday the wings holiday of the year?
Has to be. Yeah, there's some stats out there.
I don't know what it is, but like that Sunday is the wings holiday of the year. I mean, it's
let's see. Wings Super Bowl consumption. There's always numbers they put out. There we go. 1.45 billion wings.
Excuse me.
This was last year. It might probably I don't know if it went up. Here we go. For 2025, the projection on wings during the Super Bowl, 1.47 billion.
Go ahead and get that order into Jefferson's now.
1.47
Save yourself the
billion.
effort of thinking about it on Sunday morning.
That is enough to fill every seat in all 30 NFL stadiums with 693 wings.
So every seat in every stadium
with 693
wings. That's what?
Yep.
I'm not even sure. Is there enough chicken in this world for that? I guess so.
So there you go. Definitely get your order in for Sunday. All right, up next, I want to talk more about Jalen Hurts and why his name should be in the conversation when we try to figure out who else is going to get some rings in their career. That's coming up next on 96.5 The Fan.
Cody and Gold.
I didn't sleep well. I was drunk.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5 The Fan.
Your attention is precious. Pulled in a million directions for a million different reasons. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City works hard to make sure your health insurance isn't one of the many things distracting you from what's important. By making healthcare easier to navigate, we help keep your focus on the moments that matter most. Like dinner with loved ones. Letting you focus on you. That's the benefit of Blue. Learn more at BlueKC.com.
98 years. That's how long Overhead Door Company of Kansas City has been repairing and replacing garage doors. Locally owned and operated since 1927. Headquartered in Olathe. Always look for the iconic red ribbon of the genuine, the original Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. For same-day repair service 24/7, call Overhead Door Company of Kansas City, 816-221-0072, or schedule online at ohdkc.com.
MD Anderson Cancer Center is again ranked #1 in the nation for cancer care by U.S. News & World Report's Best Hospitals rankings. Our physicians treat more types of cancers in a day than many see in their whole career. This unmatched depth of expertise, combined with our groundbreaking discoveries, gives our patients access to the most innovative treatment options. Learn more at mdanderson.org.
When you have an expert financial partner invested in you, you can't help but feel like a star. Like the new graduate opening their first investment account, the small business owner proudly adding a new location, or the young couple buying their first home. At Community America, we're invested in helping members achieve financial peace of mind with products and services tailored to each stage of life. Member owned, open to all. Community America Credit Union, invested in you.
Pheasants Forever's National Pheasant Fest and Quail Classic is coming to the Kansas City Convention Center this March 7th through the 9th. Join us for puppy and dog training seminars, a youth village for kids, pollinator and wildlife habitat hunting gear in the 20th anniversary of Quail Forever. It's National Pheasant Fest and Quail Classic the weekend of March 7th. Presented by Pheasants Forever, Quail Forever, and Federal Ammunition. For more information, log on to pheasantfest.org.
Hey, Chiefs Kingdom, as the official whiskey sponsor of the NFL, it's not a kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why we've built the Crown Royal Rig, an absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more. Please drink responsibly.
This is a story of the one.
As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm at a smoothie bar asking people if they'd switch smoothies with me for $574.
Oh, I'll switch.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
That's a headache.
Nope, it's painless.
Oh, so it's easy money.
Yep, check Allstate first and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
Kansas City is gearing up for their third straight championship title game, and Academy Sports and Outdoors has everything you need to rep your team during their historic run. Swing by your local Academy store today or shop online at academy.com to find officially licensed team gear in game-changing styles, from jerseys and tees to hoodies and hats, all at prices you'll love. Get the best KC gear for the biggest game of the year. Shop Nike, 47 brand, and more Kansas City styles at Academy.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have health news, a CDC update.
Pneumococcal vaccination is now recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
When I wake up
the best mornings
in the morning light,
start with Wrangler.
I pull on my jeans and I feel alright.
Jeans, jackets, and shirts that get your day started. Good mornings make for better days. Wrangler, for the ride of life.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks VapoStick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors.
Use as directed. VapoStick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Jefferson's Wings, Burgers, Oysters, located in Lenexa and North Kansas City, proud lunch partner of Cody and Gold.
Inside the Huddle is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue.
Big game coverage on 96.5 The Fan is brought to you by Community America Credit Union. Member owned, open to all, invested in you. Join today at communityamerica.com. Listen to the Chiefs and Eagles on Sunday with the official pregame starting at 1. Kickoff at 5:30 with Mitch, Danon, and Kling. Right here on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. KFMZ FM and AM HD1 and HD2 Kansas City. An Odyssey sports station.
One o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. We just got some Jefferson wings dropped off. Our lunch partner here. I put a good dent into the, if you're watching the stream, the corn nuggets, man.
Yeah, you ate a lot of those.
I'll leave some of these for you, Drew. I know I think you like the corn nuggets too, but
and so does Rob.
Boneless barbecue. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll say this: it's a good thing the cameras are off during the break because
we have to eat fast, man.
Knowing the commercials, we get 2 commercials an hour or 2 breaks an hour with our show clock. And otherwise, it's going to sit there for 25 minutes. So now Drew can still sneak in some bites while we're talking. But
yes.
Cody and I, we basically, it's almost an embarrassing how fast we eat.
I mean, I could.
We're just shoveling food down.
You got to work quick, man.
In fairness, I could just leave the cameras on. You guys wouldn't know, and you guys.
Yeah, that'd be kind of embarrassing.
I mean, look, I can't. I'll be honest. I'd be lying to tell you if I can't wait for another 22 minutes from now so I can eat some more because I'm starving. And these are fantastic.
We were talking to our friend Nick Price, who owns proudly locally owned, as they mentioned, with Jefferson's. So if you want wings for Sunday, go to Jefferson's. But we were also mentioning. I forgot to mention this to you guys on the air. My kid got a birthday party invite for 1:30 on Sunday.
Oh, this is ridiculous.
I thought, I'm sorry. And I don't know the parent,
no. Nope.
That is an offense. And of course he wants to go. It's his friend. He's in kindergarten. You don't get that many invites when you're in the early stage, whatever, right? Of course he would like to go. I'm sure it'd be a great time for him. Sunday at 1:30 is an offensive time.
Now, I know you said you're not doing...
How long is it supposed to go?
I know you said
a couple of hours, but still, man. I mean, come on. I know it's not going to take me to kickoff, but it wasn't 5 o'clock on Sunday, but still.
I know you said you're not doing a huge Super Bowl party, so maybe it's not like you have people coming over, but still, you cannot... And if you're going to do a Super Bowl Sunday party for a kid's birthday party, then that thing needs to be at 11 a.m.
Or not, the latest.
Early.
Like, if you told me it was at 9 a.m., I'd be like, all right, still got plenty of time to do what you got to do.
So what are you going to do?
I don't know. We haven't
you going to let him go?
We haven't RSVP'd yet. It's a tough call, man. Real 50-50 one for me. He wants to go. It is a good friend of his, it appears. It is a friend he speaks about often at school. I don't want to deny him that. And here's the bigger problem. Here's why.
How far away is the party?
Here's why I'm 15 minutes. Here's why I lean yes. Because I'm worried the amount of people who are going to not show up for this young kid's birthday party because it is on Super Bowl Sunday is too high. And I don't want this kid to not have enough people at his party because it's on Super Bowl Sunday and the kid didn't do he didn't choose the day of the party. I don't, he's in kindergarten. So
my guess is it's not
I lean towards we should go to make sure that people are at this kid's party.
My guess is it's not a football-themed party. There will not be football cupcakes or anything because clearly they're clueless at the fact that they're holding their son's birthday party on Super Bowl Sunday.
I did warn my wife that this is normally we all try to go. Just I'm like, this is a you one. Like, I'm going to go.
Oh, you said,
if he's going, I'm going to need you to handle this one.
Wow.
Dude, we got a lot of stuff we do in the lead up to the Super Bowl. There's content stuff and all this other, and there's a
really?
So I wasn't.
Is there stuff we're doing Sunday?
I wasn't that rude about it. I just
Drew's hosting pregame. He's working.
Yeah, Walby has to go on there, and there's other.
That takes 5 minutes.
Food preparation. The stuff.
Food. That's what it is. That's what it is. The food.
Golden.
Look,
hang on.
You're right. We will all be taking notes and stuff during the game. I'm not going to try to lie to anybody. From 1 to 5, I'm not doing anything more than you are.
Cody, hold on. And also, in fairness, Chiefs' extended pregame is from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Yeah, you're
okay. So I can still make the party.
Technically, yes.
I apologize. Okay.
Or also, we can have you call in, and Bink and I can have you on at 9:30 or something like that.
I just can't believe this is on the parents. Obviously, as you said, it's not the kid's fault. Of course not. It's
what if the kid
parents? What are you doing?
What if he actually? How old is the kid? Same age?
I don't know. 6 probably, right?
What if he said he wanted it on Super Bowl Sunday? He might be aware of the situation.
No chance.
Okay.
No chance. Come on.
But what if it's his actual birthday? I feel like you want to celebrate your birthday on your birthday.
That would also change the math a little, right?
Do you know?
No.
Okay.
Not something I can possibly know, right?
You can 100% blame the parents. If his birthday is not on Sunday, but they decided to have it on Sunday, that makes zero sense.
Someone says early in, early out.
Where is it at?
Main event.
Oh, that's a great spot.
I'm just trying to think if was there a reason why they picked Sunday. Yeah.
Based
off of reservation.
Well, you know what I'm going to guess? Maybe the deal was better that day.
That's what I'm saying.
Look, kids' parties are expensive. I'm not hating on the deal part. I'm just saying they can't be that loaded up that day because most people are doing other
So did you
things.
RSVP? Yes.
I haven't RSVP'd anything. We're making a decision today.
Better. I mean,
they didn't give me the invitation till Monday.
Okay.
I'm not on the hook here to you don't need they gave me the invitation on Monday. I don't owe you an RSVP by now.
Also, is that
I'll get you
normal?
one by today.
Look, I don't have any kids, but I have nephews. Giving someone 6 days notice about a birthday party doesn't seem right. Especially when you're holding on Super Bowl Sunday.
Early.
Shouldn't you give 2 weeks?
We get a real mixed bag.
Right.
I'll say. Sometimes one time we got one that was 48 hours before the party, and I thought, well, this is crazy. You can't possibly expect us to make
too much.
to make this one. This is crazy.
Yeah, one of the gifts you should throw in there, not for the kid, but for the parents, it's a calendar of next year's Super Bowl and what day that occurs on. Don't schedule your kid's party. Reminder, the 2026 Super Bowl, as in Super Bowl 60, it's going to be on this Sunday. Don't schedule your kid's birthday party on it next year, please. Thank you.
I already told my kids for class that if the Chiefs win, no class on Monday. But if they lose, we're going to work.
Yeah, we're all going to be miserable together on Monday. That's how this works.
We're filling up the time.
We're all celebrating together, or we're all miserable together on Monday.
Cody, it's not like you're just having class. You are filling up all 2.5 every single second. You are not allowed to leave. We are not ending this thing early. We are going all the way.
Here staring at each other. We're going to be here for the whole damn class.
That's right.
Read this thing up.
Yeah, Textline has a theory. That's I don't know. How you said he's good friends with the kids. Someone says maybe you weren't on the original invite list.
I don't know, man.
He said he's good friends with them.
I just don't know I've met the parents like one time, but they're in kindergarten. You haven't met all the parents all that much. He just I think they sit at green table together. You know what it is? Like you're friends with, it's a proximity-based friendship. That's all kindergarten friendship.
Sure. Yeah.
He's told me again. That girl, he's got a huge crush on that girl I told you. He said he was thinking about
going to the party?
I don't know. I mean, that would probably obviously change his answer. He had told me again, he said, I was going to tell her I love you, but it was inside recess. I don't want to do it in front of everybody. And then he asked me if I would do it for him. And I said, that ain't how it works. You're going to tell a girl I love you. It's not going to be me. I'm not doing the wait.
That's great.
I'm not doing the wait.
We need another update on this eventually if he says it or not.
You want to say it? It can't be me. Got to come from the heart.
What did he say after?
He said, okay. He seemed he
I guess if he's going to do it?
He still claims he's going to do it. We'll see. Yeah. But he said he wasn't going to do it in front of everybody. Inside recess wasn't the place.
Someone says most parties at main event are capped at 2 hours for room reservation. So if they're reserving in space, Cody, you should be done by 3:30. Okay. Or they said, I guess your wife should be done by 3:30.
We'll see. I'm just letting you guys know.
Yeah. All right.
Always conflicts.
Let's get back to the game on Sunday. And maybe you're watching pregame coverage if you're not at a kid's birthday party and you're listening to 96.5 The Fan. Jalen Hurts should be talked more, at least about in the ring conversation as Allen and Burrow and Jackson. Not saying he's better than Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow. I don't think he's better. But they don't have rings. Only one of those guys has gone to a Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts is going to a second. And maybe he gets his ring Sunday. I don't think he's going to. But maybe he gets his ring on Sunday. We have to add him to the conversation of like, how many rings can he get in his career? Because he's going to these Super Bowls. He doesn't have Mahomes blocking him to get there. It might turn out that Mahomes is going to block him twice to win it. Yeah.
That's a whole nother challenge. It's like the only person who's winning Super Bowls, like in the last 7 years, 2 people won a Super Bowl that aren't Patrick Mahomes so far. We'll see on Sunday. Could be a third. One got the 1 year Patrick Mahomes wasn't in it. So Stafford got to go ahead and win that one. And the other one was Tom Brady in the year with the offensive line stuff. Jalen Hurts is going to, and look, he'll be a great barstool debate, right? Like anything else, where if he wins this one, people are going to make the argument forever over the guy in the AFC who never wins one. Because I already told you, someone in those 3, maybe 2, but one of those 3 is never winning one. Just do the math. How many Super Bowls are available to go to that Patrick Mahomes doesn't go to, and then they still have to win the NFC opponent and still have to get past the other 2. Still have to get past Allen and Jackson, or you have to get past Burrow and Allen. So like they all have maybe, I think at best, 2 realistic cracks at winning a Super Bowl. And like really it'll end up being like 5 total trips between them. Jalen Hurts is already at 2. And the NFC side's way weaker. There's no competition. Yeah, I think he's got a good chance here.
The question for him will be, what's the rest of the NFC shape up to be? Jaden Daniels, is Caleb Williams going to figure it out? There's always new crop of quarterbacks. Is Jared Goff still the same guy without Ben Johnson as their offensive coordinator in Detroit? Because right now, to their credit, Nick Sirianni, Howie Roseman, Jalen Hurts, whoever you want to give all the credit to there in Philly, they're taking advantage of an NFC that doesn't have a true leader that's dominating. And the Niners have been there twice during this run as well. The Rams won one of them. And, of course, the Eagles now have been there twice. So that's what's, I think, interesting as well. It's not that I'm saying Jalen Hurts is in the same tier of quarterback, but when it comes to the ring conversation, it feels like he's got to kind of strike while he's getting there. These other guys haven't got there, but is it any different if he's blocked by Mahomes anyway when it's all said and done? Like, we've said it, if Josh Allen was on the NFC side,
he's the same. He just got to more because he didn't have to play him before.
Josh Allen would be in a Super Bowl or 2 by now if he was in the NFC. We know that, right? But he still would have lost to Mahomes, I'm guessing.
Yeah, if he'd been the Stafford in the 1 year.
Yeah, if he was Brock Purdy or Jalen Hurts those given years, they probably lose still. But
it's going to feel only stronger in that way if he goes and holds down Hurts. Because then he will have stopped Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy, Jalen Hurts, and Burrow, Allen, and Lamar from getting to the Super Bowl. Because that's what it feels like right now. It doesn't feel like he's holding some other unknown AFC quarterback who's going to definitely get it. Ryan Tannehill's definitely going to get it done that year. No, He's not holding down Ryan Tannehill from his Super Bowl win. He's holding down the best quarterbacks in there. The biggest thing Jalen Hurts has going for him is that in the NFC right now, there is now only one real threat. Depends on how you feel about Purdy. Purdy's put up good numbers in the time he started, but the injury stuff, and we all want to kind of see, and they haven't had to try to win when he's getting paid, if they're going to pay him, is Daniels. And I'll point, and this is not to say, I think Daniels won't be good. It's just, you always got to wait one more year before you decide this guy deserves to be on, the mountaintop amongst the other great quarterbacks. Because it had been very easy last year in what was previously the single greatest season by a rookie quarterback in C.J. Stroud to anoint him in the same class as Hurts or Burrow or some of these other guys who've been there. And he had to take a step back, and now he's got to see if he can regain back to the top. So, Daniel's got to prove it more than once, I guess is my point. Hurts has already proven he's the best quarterback in the NFC right now. So prove it otherwise. Jalen Hurts is the top of the mountain, isn't he? On that side, Goff hasn't even gotten to the NFC. He got to the NFC title game, and they came up short.
It depends on your belief in Brock Purdy bouncing back in a healthy year. Yeah. Do they get a healthy team around him, right? And do you believe the Niners next year are right back there? And there's a chance I could see the Niners doing that. Now, they've got to turn over the roster a little bit. Trent Williams is not getting any younger. George Kittle's not getting younger. We know that Christian McCaffrey, at this point, it's unfortunate to say, but maybe it's finally happened, right, where his body is broken down. I don't know. Well, the Achilles thing is...
He'll probably have one more year where you're just oh, damn, Christian McCaffrey's great again. But yeah, what did they, geriatric Achilles or whatever the hell they called him. They were pretty rough on it.
He went to Germany for a procedure, didn't he? And
he was having plate spinning and all that stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
I don't feel good about it. This is off of the Chiefs for just a minute. We'll talk more about him. You actually hear our interview with Tyrann Mathieu, which happened in the 11 o'clock hour.
Yeah, he was great. You want to hear that conversation. He talked about the reasons why this team's gone on a run and gave a ton of praise to Spags.
And so our big game coverage on 96.5 is brought to you by Community America. Credit union member-owned, open to all, invested in you. Join today at communityamerica.com. But this might just be a general personality or whatever. I do not understand the constant bitching that comes from the way you consume Royals games. So first, I'll say, you can listen for free every single game, all 162 of them, right here on your home for the Royals, 96.5 The Fan. So you have a free option. Logan's video. I get it. You want to see with your eyes sometimes. You and I had to get in arguments with people last year, Gold, about, hey, you keep saying I can't watch the Royals, and that's not true. That was true when they didn't have an app or a partner that allowed for that. You can watch the Royals. It just cost you money. So then you're like, well, I want it for free. And then the Royals announced yesterday that they're going to have 10 games televised on KCTV5 and KSMO. They're going to be on Sundays for the most part, which I think is a really nice day to have the free game on. And I thought, wow, fans are going to be thrilled at the idea that some of these games are going to be available to them to watch, and they don't have to pay. And instead, it was just, well, they're not enough. And I get it. I understand 10 is not that many of 162, but no offense to the people who want to watch this on TV. You're not watching 162 anyway. That is only for the diehards. This, to me, is objectively good. Any games on local TV for baseball is good. Yes, baseball's TV system is broken. Because it's all through pay-for systems like the NFL is eventually going to go to. I got bad news. Maybe not on the local end. Ideally not on the local end, but it's certainly going that way in playoff games. I thought it should just be celebrated. I'm happy. The 10 games will be aired on local TV, and they'll be available for free for everybody. Do I wish it were 162 or 80 or 40? Yes. But if this experiment works, there's a chance that it could be 20 next year, or it could be a little bit more as time goes on.
I wonder if it's the vocal minority or not. I'll say, in general, yeah, it's a nice announcement from the Royals. They mentioned when they re-upped with Diamond Sports Group, I believe Brooks Sherman was on this station and mentioned how they were going to work with some TV partners locally to see what options existed for up to 10 games. It was always going to be up to 10 games because Diamond Sports Group is paying millions and millions of dollars.
And they want people to go to their
They want people to buy their app or whatever. So there was never a scenario where 80 games were going to be over the air for free. Also, the local TV partner end of it. You mentioned they're on Sunday. It's on Sunday not just because it's a nice day for it, but because they are day games. CBS, in this case, KCB5, their CBS affiliate, they have programming in the evenings, including their news, that they have, there's certain programs they have to carry too. Right? And so if you have baseball games on, then you don't carry some of the CBS national program that they're required to carry as a CBS affiliate.
You don't run the Young Sheldon or whatever.
That's yeah. No, you're right. Something like that. So that's
Is that show even on?
I don't know. But whatever, right? The comparison works. The example works. So that's what it is. It's progress. It brings back some people that maybe truly either do not want to pay, can't pay, don't want to go through the hurdle. It allows them 10 games over the air this year. I think that's great. It's good for the Royals to expand out. I don't see a negative to this. People will always demand a better solution, though, right? And that's fine. You were saying people were upset. I think people will always demand a better solution in their mind. This is as good as it's going to get right now. All right, it's 10 games that are going to be over the air, which is nice. And we had 0 last year. And the year before, and the year before, and the year before.
That's it. Again, I'm not arguing baseball's TV system isn't broken. Why are you mad that they're giving you something for free? Like, I mean, I understand. And again, most casual baseball fans, most of you, like, look, we love people who listen to this show 4 hours a day, and you listen to the station 12 hours a day, and you consume all 162 Royals games, and you watch all 20 Chiefs games. You're in the minority. For most people, they consume sports in a casual-ish nature. They catch 30 Royals games a year. They attend 3, and that's what they watch. Or they watch like the first couple of innings, and then they got other stuff, or they got kids, or they got swim lessons, or a million other things that kind of get in the way or interrupt or disrupt. They're giving you 10. They're giving you more than you got before. And I'll say the same thing. I understand. I wish I didn't have to pay $20 a month too. But they do offer you a way to watch it. And the TV partnership with FanDuel is going to make that a more available option for you to purchase than having to download the Bally app for the only thing, right? Like, it's going to be on more services now available for purchase. So, like, they've widened their access point to you. And in a year where they're good. So, like, well, presumed to be good. I guess we don't know yet, but...
Yeah. Is there any way that they, like, get rid of the blackout stuff for local? Because so somebody from the 816 says, I want all 162 available. Since I pay for MLB Network or the package, like, I can watch the Yankees play every day, essentially, because they're out of market. Is there any way that, for those people that do already invest in... Whatever, even if it's
if you're out of market, you can watch it on MLB TV like anything else.
But if you're in market, like if you're a Royals fan and you have MLB Network because you pay it for it with whatever,
that goes back to the same
TV.
thing. They should get rid of blackout.
Yeah, the blackouts that's going to have to be done over multiple years. A lot of these TV contracts they need to have expired and they need to bring it in house, and that's the kind of stuff that would have to happen. That's many years down the road for it to be solved. But yeah, of course, I think everybody now, at least you hear when you hear from owners talking about it, including John Sherman, everybody acknowledges they've got to do something about the blackout policy. Like, it's not before we've at least made progress to the point where before nobody, it seemed at the correct level around Major League Baseball was willing to say, yeah, we agree. I think most people now in baseball have agreed, hey, this blackout thing is terrible. The problem is a lot of these contracts, they don't all expire at the same time. And so I think it sounds like that's going to take some time to work on moving forward. But that's a huge complaint for people. Hey, you can buy MLB extra innings. You can, if you're a T-Mobile subscriber, like I get MLB at bat for free because as part of my my T-Mobile subscription, I can watch every other game. I can't watch the Royals through that app, and that's what people are asking.
Look, and I get it. Like, people are like, hey,
and then we have
Odyssey doesn't let me listen to them on Colorado. We have to follow blackout rules just like TV.
Correct.
They don't just let us send it anywhere. You can't just pull up our app in California, Canada, wherever, and listen to it. They want you buying MLB TV. They want you buying the one you just said, right, where you can listen to the radio calls inside the app, outside of market.
Yeah. We got a lot of productive texts, and then one person just says, shut up. Very productive to the conversation. Congratulations to you. Other texts coming in, 913-586-7965. Someone says, really can't be listening to it on the radio. I love the Royals, but prefer to listen on the radio since I live an hour away. Yeah, there's not a perfect system. I think what you're arguing is that, hey, there's 10 games that now are going to be on television for free that weren't before. So what? Like, we all know it's not a perfect solution, but it's better than what it was.
Situation, right?
10 games is still 10 games.
I still think
like
this
Nick
is.
Price just brought us in some free wings. I'd be like, what is this? 8? Could you get me 40? What, 8 wings?
I think it's overall still a vocal minority of people that are upset about 10 games being on.
I think it could be a positive step in the right direction. Who's to say it can't be 15 or 20? And what's enough? Like, is it not enough until it's all 162 when the normal fan might consume 20 Royals games in a season? Like, what's a number that you'll accept, I guess, is a question I have.
Yeah, because they're saying they have MLB Network and you can't watch for. Are you talking about MLB Network or MLB Extra Innings? MLB Network doesn't give you anything. It's just the network.
It's got to be MLB TV.
There's occasionally games.
MLB TV.
Yeah, no, because they're saying they have MLB Network. I'm trying to. Are they saying they have MLB Network? Or are they just are they naming it?
MLB Network will black out a Royals game.
Right, but they're rarely on MLB Network. Yeah. I'm just saying, are they meaning that they have extra innings? Because if you pay extra for MLB Network, that's not getting you anything. Just like NFL Network, you can pay for that. There's a handful of games on there. It doesn't give you access to Sunday Ticket. Those are two different products.
Yeah, and if you're in market, you should be giving your money to FanDuel TV.
Yeah. Overall, we all agree, right? There's a ton of streaming platforms. They've all gotten very expensive. It's sounding a lot like cable and all this kind of stuff, but I'm paying separately. That's the bigger problem, but that's not unique to this conversation with the Royals or anything like that. All right, up next, Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, former Chief, won a Super Bowl here in Kansas City. He's now a New Orleans Saint. His hometown is New Orleans. We had a chance earlier to catch up with him, find out how the city's hosting this thing, and why Spags is so darn good at what he does, disguising blitzes. That's next.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
Missouri sports fans, I've got good news. Underdog is available to play in your state. Best app for the big game party is actually on your phone. You can use it from your couch on the Missouri side. I was using it this weekend. So for the big game coming up on Sunday, you could play their Champions game. Win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on those player stats. Like I said, you could go higher than Patrick Mahomes' passing yards at 219.5 is available for you. Whatever combination of Chiefs and Eagles players you think could be good, all those things are available over at Underdog. Yards, touchdowns, interceptions. They've got your favorite leagues, your favorite teams, your favorite stars, and will be perfect for you on the Missouri side for the big game. Underdog is the only Champions platform that puts the power to cash out in your hands, so you can either let it ride and keep, setting those entries, or you can tap win now like I did this weekend and cash out whenever you want. And with their double flex option, you can say, hey, I think, let me say 2 out of the 3 of these win, and I'll win some if all 3 win, and I'll win some if just 2 win. You can take those 2 L's and turn them into a W. Super easy to use, super easy to download, super easy to navigate. It is the best place to play Champions. Sign up and deposit now with promo code TAPP, TAPP, for up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. And if you're Missouri, you'll get an extra $50 in bonus cash when you play your first $5 entry. That's promo code TAPP. Must be 18 plus and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. $10 deposit minimum. See UnderdogFantasy.com for terms and conditions. Concerned with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
At Main Street Credit Union, your success is our goal. Jumpstart your savings this year with Main Street Credit Union. Refinance your old auto loan today and get up to $300 in a bonus. You don't need to be a new member of Main Street to apply. With low rates and no payment for 90 days, Main Street Credit Union can be your first step to refinancing your old loan. Restrictions apply. Go to mainstreetcu.org for more information. That's mainstreetcu.org.
Kansas City is gearing up for their 3rd straight championship title game, and Academy Sports and Outdoors has everything you need to rep your team during their historic run. Swing by your local Academy store today or shop online at academy.com to find officially licensed team gear in game-changing styles, from jerseys and tees to hoodies and hats, all at prices you'll love. Get the best KC gear for the biggest game of the year. Shop Nike, 47 brand, and more Kansas City styles at Academy.
Hey, it's Karen with Shamrock Roofing and Construction. Ready to replace that roof? We have flexible financing options, 12 months same as cash, and don't make a payment for 90 days. And that's just one of many options we offer. Get on the schedule now with our in-house Consumer Credit Center. One call does it all for flexible payment options, affordability, and peace of mind. Visit shamrockroofer.com. That's shamrockroofer.com or call 1-866-932-3545 today.
For over 87 years, GEHA, Government Employees Health Association, has offered health and dental benefits designed to meet the unique needs of federal employees and retirees, military retirees, and their families. With over 2 million members and growing, GEHA continues to serve those members and families who serve us all every day. At GEHA, your health is not our business, it's our purpose. GEHA, proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. Learn more at GEHA.com.
The FanDuel Kick of Destiny is happening on Sunday, and this time it's every Manning for himself. This Super Bowl, two legends will take the field in a sudden death field goal showdown, Peyton against Eli. Live from New Orleans, one kick to claim ultimate family bragging rights. Who will rise to the moment? Pick your winner now in the FanDuel app, and if you back the right brother, you'll earn a share of $10 million in bonus bets. It's the FanDuel Kick of Destiny 3. Make your free pick, and don't forget to tune in to watch the showdown live during Super Bowl 59 pregame show on Fox at 3 p.m. Eastern. May the best Manning win. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com/KFNZ. Use my promo code to bet with FanDuel, an official partner of Super Bowl 59. 21 and present in Kansas. No purchase necessary. Bonus issue with non-withdrawable bonus bets. It expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Can help us your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
You okay?
I can't sleep with this cough.
Sounds like you need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with NyQuil VapoCool. It's NyQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
So you ready to get some sleep? Thank you, NyQuil VapoCool.
NyQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing nighttime coughing, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
O'Reilly. Check engine light on? Take the guesswork out of your check engine light with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free and provides a report with solutions based on over 650 million vehicle scans verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we can recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Right now at Wendy's, get 2 of these fave items for just $7. The spicier classic chicken sandwich, Dave's single, or 10-piece nugs. It's an incredible deal, but an insanely difficult choice. Do you go double chicky sando, both spicy and classic, one beefy and one chicky? Or maybe you go all in on one and go Nug Max. 2 faves for just $7? Gotta be Wendy's.
At participating Wendy's for a limited time only. Select a request 2 for $7 deal to redeem. Not valid in a combo or with saucy nugs. Single item at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Whether you're ordering wings for the game, whipping up a 7-layer dip, or ordering pizza, there's something about football that makes you want to eat. And this football season, Uber Eats has the best deals on game day food. No matter what you're craving, from 2-for-1 pizza to buy one, get one wings, Uber Eats will be dropping new deals each week, all season long. Uber Eats, official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
The technicians you can trust with your house keys. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Back here on Cody and Gold. Thanks for hanging out with us here on a Wednesday. Of course, all our guests are brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of your Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Drink responsibly. Earlier today, Tyrann Mathieu, former Chiefs safety, current member of the New Orleans Saints, of course, won a Super Bowl here in Kansas City, a 3-time All-Pro, joined us on the show, and it was good to catch up with him. He spoke very highly on Spags, and we started our conversation just asking him about the city that he's grown up with, and that is New Orleans, and what's it like to see his city hosting the Super Bowl?
It's definitely good to talk to you guys, man. It's definitely been a while.
and miss you guys. Yeah, for sure. Man, listen, man. New Orleans is one of those places, man. Like they take pride in, these type of events, right? Like people coming in town, people getting a good dose of, our culture down here, and everybody's excited, man. It's a whole bunch to do, and yeah, we've been looking forward to it.
For those who might be listening who haven't been down to New Orleans, give us some off the beaten path. Don't give them a Cafe Du Monde. Give them a place that they should go to that their residents would go to, Tyrann.
Well, I'm gonna keep it all the way real with y'all, man. Like it's 1,000 different restaurants, to go to out there. Some of those restaurants are like, world renowned. But I'll take it a step further, man. Like I think you have to find a way to really, befriend like a local. Like you have to go to somebody's grandma's house, man. You got to go to somebody's great aunt house to get like the real food, the real New Orleans food. You know what I mean? So that's what I would encourage everybody, man. Like before they head out of New Orleans, just find a house where you can stop at and get some food.
They're just gonna let me in.
Well, like I said, man, good thing it's the Super Bowl, so everybody's happy, right? Like everybody's feeling, hospitable, and I think it'll work out.
What's it like for you to see a lot of the national narrative around a franchise that you helped start this dynasty that the Chiefs are in the middle of, and you have this national narrative about the league and conspiracies around officiating? To see people saying that kind of stuff when you obviously were part of this dynasty or are part of this dynasty.
Yeah, man, I don't get it. I really don't understand it. I think the Chiefs are in such a good situation, man. I think the rest of the league is kind of aware of it as well. I think, obviously it goes without saying the success that, Patrick has and Coach Reed. But I think really, man, like the X factor has been Spags, right? Like the Spags has always, found a way to kind of get his defenses ready to go when they really needed to go. Even when I was there, we kind of started off slow at first, and by the time we got to playoffs, man, like we were in high gear, right? And Spags has been there 5 years now. So it's like, most times, when a defensive coordinator has that type of success, he doesn't stick around, right? Like other teams are trying to pull him away, and I think the Chiefs have just been fortunate, man, to kind of have Coach Reed, Spags, Tobes, like that structure is like still in place. And, outside of the players going out there making plays, I think having those three guys and that camaraderie, that familiarity, I think that's been like the key. Like that's been like the X factor for me.
You've been around the league so long. With Spags, the thing that always stands out to me is how hard is it to still fool somebody, Like he's still calling blitzers like, well, we didn't see that all year. I feel like at times, because of the amount of tape and all this stuff you guys can see, Tyrann, that it's pretty easy to kind of get a sense of people's habits or what you've seen over a 10-year period. It seems like he still fools teams. That always stands out to me. How hard is that, I guess, to do in the league?
I mean, it's extremely hard, especially with some of these quarterbacks, man. Like a lot of these guys aren't just physically gifted. Some of them are mentally, exceptional. You know what I mean? And cerebral, right? And, a lot of these guys have seen it all, even some of these younger quarterbacks, like those guys have played 3-4 years of college. So, like they have the experience, like they have the game experience. And so, but Spags, man, he's like one of those dudes, bro, like, man, like, I don't know if he goes home at night, he's probably like he's probably like one of those guys that get like 3 hours of sleep a day, but he's excited, man, like especially around this time, and I remember I used to have conversations with him, about the Giants, right? Like, and, like what he was able to do, with against Tom Brady, right? And, against Randy Moss and a 17-year-old Patriots, like he always rises to the challenge. And I think a lot of that, man, is like competition, like challenge, like he's up for the challenge, right? Like, and he definitely wants to compete, man. And man, I'll probably not a hot take, but if he gets this done, this weekend, man, he'll probably be the greatest defensive coordinator of all time.
We have the most rings ever.
Yeah, we think he should be in the Hall of Fame, Tyrann. We think he should become. I think he'd be the first coordinator to get in, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, man, it's just been impressive, what he's been able to do, and that's not an easy defense to learn. You know, like that defense is complex, man. Like you need a safety. You need a couple safeties. You need corners. You need a linebacker, right? Like you need guys to get the quarterback. And he's been able to do it, man. Like year after year after year, and it's been exciting to watch, man.
All our guests here are brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of your Kansas City Chiefs. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Drink responsibly. We're talking to former Chief, a Super Bowl champ, current safety for the New Orleans Saints, Tyrann Mathieu. Do you stay in touch with whether it's Spags or any of the guys on the team?
Yeah, for sure. I'll probably say mostly the coaches. You know, obviously, it's a lot of guys that, you know, I talk to, you know, on my side of the ball that, you know, aren't necessarily Chiefs, you know, still, like, you know, obviously Snead and Lil Mooney, you know, Hitchens, different guys like that. Frank Clark, right? Kyler Sanders, who's teammates with me right now. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, Coach Merritt, me and Coach Merritt talk probably once a week. Me and Spags as well. And, you know, obviously Coach Reed, we probably text, you know, more sparingly than the rest of the guys. But, and yeah, I was talking to Veach earlier this year, man. I was trying to tell him, like stop getting all the DBs, man. Like, you know, like stop drafting all the good, you know, unknown hidden gems. Like, you know what I mean? Like let those dudes sprinkle around the league, man. Because they do have a good defensive backfield, you know, and it's been impressive, man, to see that from afar. Because a lot of times, man, you want guys that have experience. You want guys that, you know, able to kind of communicate in tough situations. You really want experienced guys. But I think with the Chiefs, man, like they've been able to kind of embrace this young culture, right? Like, and I think a lot of that credit goes to Coach Merritt, man, and Spags, just getting those guys ready to play, because they've been one of the best, you know, the last 3 years.
Of course, the Chiefs are trying to do something that's never been done in the Super Bowl era. That's the 3P. When you step back to that Super Bowl you were a part of, and then now to see that they're trying to get their fourth ring, but third in a row. I mean, could you have ever imagined, though, that this group, you mentioned how constant the pieces are, but that they'd be trying to make history like that or capable of that?
Yeah, man. You know what, man? I think, you know, even when I was there, like it was always a goal, right? Like that was always aspirations. I remember Chris Jones said one time, let's go get 5 rings. You know what I mean? And you never really think it's possible, but you know, I think when you're able to put together like those type of seasons back to back, man, it becomes clear that like you can do it, you know. And then when you come back next year and it's not too much turnover, and I know a lot of people talk about the wide receivers, but outside of that, man, that's probably the only position that you know, like you're plugging in guys, you know what I mean? And but for the most part, man, like it's been pretty stable over there, and you know, obviously injuries play a part. Right, like injuries are usually like the leading cause to teams kind of starting to, like, you know, descend, so to say, right? But the Chiefs have been able to stay fairly healthy, and I think that starts with Pat, man. Like when you got a quarterback that's tough, that's telling the head coach, no, I'm not coming out the game. Like those type of things, you know, resonates with the entire team, you know, and you know, that's been fun to watch too. Just that team's toughness. I think at first people thought, I'm sorry, but at first I thought people thought that there was a lot of finesse. And I'm like, nah, bro, like the Chiefs are a physical team. Like they're tough because that's the way they practice. That's the way they train.
I was going to say, how much of that like inside the building? Because like, you know, I've heard stories of like Patrick Mahomes checking in on the training room, and then if someone's not available, like, I'll win without him. Like, I'll win with it. You know, whoever's there, I'll play. Like, I mean, inside the building, he's like that, right? Like, I'll play under any condition.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I think that's what kind of sets him apart. You know, like he's not excuse driven, right? Like he's goal oriented, right? Like what does it take to get to the goals? And the goals aren't always 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns, and 500 yards on the ground. That's not always the goal. The goal is to get your team in a position where you can win the game, you know, and he's been outstanding, you know, in that factor. And yeah, man, like it's so hard, right? Like we played KC earlier this year, and man, I was trying to study these dudes all week, and I'm like, I think they call a different play every play, you know, even though it looks the same, right? Like, and man, I just remember that week, man, just working that week and trying to study them, man. I just couldn't figure it out, like, at all, you know? So, Yeah, man, they do a great job of mixing things up and, going from game plan to game plan. Whereas most teams, they'll show you the same thing for 4 weeks until somebody stops it, right? And for the Chiefs, man, like they're giving you different looks. They putting people in different spots, and I think it's affecting the way guys on defense able to process that information and anticipate a play.
We're talking to Tyrann Mathieu here on 96.5 The Fan. You and the Saints played the Eagles earlier in the year, so I wanted to get your perspective real quick on that because Saquon, we all know how special a player he is. What's it like trying to stop, or I guess not you're only stopping him, but limit him? What do the Chiefs have to do to maybe avoid the big 60-plus yard run?
Yeah, man, with Saquon, you have to play a full-quarter game with him. For instance, when we played them, I think they beat us maybe 15-12, 15-13. It was a tight game. But we kind of had him in check pretty much the whole game. And then it got to the fourth quarter, and he was the only one with juice, right? And so they started to feed him, and I think he popped off like a 70-yarder, 65-yarder. That was really the dagger, against us, right? But I think you just have to do a great job, man, of playing three-level defense because Saquon is so exclusive. And by the time he gets to the second level, nobody's touched him, and, he still has that burst. He still has that long speed, and he can make 3 or 4 guys miss, in a box, So if they can just keep him under wraps, man, I think they'll have a great chance to win because Saquon is actually my X factor in the game, right? Like, I think if he plays extremely well, he'll give the Eagles a chance because him playing well goes into, I think, the overall game plan, which is how do we keep Patrick on the sideline? How do we keep him on the sideline and not involved in the game? So I think Saquon has to play, a big game, big role in this game, and with that, it'll help Jalen Hurts with cleaner looks on the back end, right? And giving him those one-on-one shots with AJ Brown, which he's one of the best receivers, in that department.
In terms of trying to take down Saquon, like Derrick Henry, my guess is at the top of the list of a guy you just don't want running full steam ahead at you, Tyrann. Where's you tell me if I'm wrong on that, but like, is Saquon number 2, or who's the guy you're just like, man, this is not who you want to be dealing with one-on-one?
Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'd rather Derrick Henry.
Okay.
Because at least I know I can get in front of him.
Fair.
Now, he might run over me, right? But I know I can get in front of him. Now, Saquon, when Saquon's running at you, you thinking, man, is he going left? Is he going right? Is he gonna jump over me? Right? Is he gonna spin out of me? Is he gonna do his famous spin? So it's like as he's running at you and he got a two-way goal, your mind is racing because you've seen him do, so many different things in these situations. You know what I mean? But as far as Derrick Henry, it's like, man, let me just get in front of him and buy time for the rest of the guys to catch up, right? But Saquon, it's like, man, you hoping that 2 people are there. It's not just you.
When you look at the other spot, because I was looking back to your game because I figured you'd have good insight for what it's like to try to guard them. Dallas Goedert had a nice game against you guys, 10 for 170. The Chiefs haven't been great against tight ends. What about their offense makes tight ends tough to guard, or what do they need to do against Dallas Goedert?
So the thing that kind of hurt us with Dallas was Dallas is great at the catch and run, right? And you look at him, right? You see his body on tape, and you're like, man, he's 6'7", right? He's 250. I'm pretty sure he's like a down the field threat, right? Possession receiver threat, right? Not at all. Like, we were so surprised when they was throwing the ball at him, 2-3 yards, and he turned up the field getting 15-20, right? So I think the Chiefs just have to know what they're dealing with. Yeah, he's a big guy. He's a possession guy. He can run seams. He can run bang routes. He can run those type of things. But I think his game, what separates him and what makes him a really good player and a tight end is, I think his effort, when he's blocking. And then, 2, I think his run-catch ability after the catch, I think it's so underrated. I think he's probably like, top 3 tight end, as far as, I think he's like behind Kittle and Kelsey and the kid that's in Miami, Jonnu Smith. Like he's in that group with guys that can catch a 2-yard ball and take it 40, so just don't be surprised, when they're throwing these checkdowns to him. Because they believe in him, making a guy miss, and he's big. So it takes a couple guys to bring him down.
Who do you think that the Eagles will try to slow down? Like, we talk all the time, like, I don't think anyone typically has the personnel for Kelsey, but, like, right now it's kind of a tough question. Worthy's been their number one wide receiver. Forgetting about Travis Kelce can burn you. And then they still have guys like Hollywood Brown and DeAndre Hopkins and other guys after. If you thought your team was going into it defensively, who would you try to slow down first for Kansas City?
Man, it's almost impossible. I've only seen it happen one time, in a Super Bowl that, we played in Tampa that year, right? But you got to try to find a way to impact Mahomes, man. Like, if you can't get him flustered, if you can't get him rattled, like, if you can't get him just out of character, right? Like, man, it's going to be a long day, Like, you have to try to find a way to affect him, which is hard to do because the Chiefs have like 4 All-Pros on their offensive line, right? Like, it's like the interior of their offense is built for Patrick, right? And most teams, they try to attack that area of the field, right? That 2-3 yards behind the center, that's like the dead zone, right? That's where you want the quarterback at because guys like Chris Jones, Aaron Donalds of the world, they can get to him, right? They're 2 yards away. They could get to him, and they could impact them. And I think just with, like, the meat that the Chiefs have in the middle of their line, it makes it hard, man, to put pressure on him. It makes it hard to rattle him,
So you go into the game or you watch that thing at home, and how do you see it playing out?
Oh, man. I'll be at the game for like the first half. Both of my sons they're actually going to the game. Obviously they're huge Chiefs fans.
Yeah.
So they'll go to the game. I'll probably just be kind of like in the city, doing appearances and whatnot. But for me, man, I believe in the Chiefs. I cannot bet against Mahomes. Can't bet against Spaz, Coach Reed, even Tobes, man. Like you don't think Butler's ready? Like you don't think they're gonna pop off like a 40, 50-yard return? Like these things are gonna happen, right? So now I'm just looking forward to it. I'm hoping that it's a great game, but obviously, man, if Patrick had that ball last, man, it's time to start playing the band.
Play him out,
Yeah, it's time to start playing the band, man. Like somebody's about to go home.
Just keep the lights on there, Tyrann. I mean, the last time there was a Super Bowl in New Orleans, man, you got to keep the lights on.
You got to keep the lights on, absolutely. Which I think the city has been. Everybody has kind of taken this thing serious. Obviously a month ago, we had that tragedy, down there, in the first quarters on Bourbon Street. And I think it raised a lot of people's, awareness and attendance and, even from security, right, to the people that's, taking care of little things, right, the mics in the stadium and the lights and the sound and all these different things that make the Super Bowl experience great. I think across the board, man, everybody's excited. Everybody's taking it personal. And everybody wants to leave a good look. I think everybody wants to do well so that, the New Orleans is in position to get another Super Bowl. So I think it'll run smoothly. I think it'll be perfect. Yeah, man, I think it'll be all right.
Tyrann, great to hear from you, man. Appreciate you giving us some time. Appreciate hosting Chiefs fans, I guess, in New Orleans as well all week long, and we'll have to catch up down the road.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
There you go. So that was Tyrann Mathieu a little bit earlier on today. Great to catch up with the former Kansas City Chief. All our guests brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Kansas City's gearing up for their third straight title, and Academy Sports and Outdoors has everything you need to rep your team during their historic run. Yeah, I forgot that New Orleans, I was reading an article about the backstory of the lights going out the last time the Super Bowl was there.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah.
Really
it was like
weird.
a 30-minute delay, wasn't
That's
it?
not happening
It might have
again.
even been longer.
I don't think so.
There's no chance that's happening again.
And if it is, it'll be right when like the Eagles are playing really well, the Chiefs will come back out there, and that'll be the next conspiracy.
That
the NFL turned off the lights.
That would be egregious.
Yeah, all the momentum, you're right. All the
my
momentum was on
gosh.
Philly, and then they had a 30-minute delay. You're exactly right. Oh, gosh.
You can feel it now, can't you?
No. We don't need that. We don't need that. We're back at it tomorrow. It'll be a Thursday, of course, here on Cody and Gold. Tonight, if you want some betting advice, some different prop bets, we'll have some fun with that. That betting show, I'm hosting that from 6 to 7 here on 96.5 The Fan. Up next, C-Dot, Rob, right here on 96.5.